All right, I'm hitting go. Hitting go live right now. There we go. It's been hit. It's been hit.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Hi, guys. Hopefully you can hear us already.
Welcome, life forms out of time and out of place. Your mere existence here is folly to the winds of time.
Oh, I thought you were going to rhyme with place. God damn. You were so good there. You should have rhymed something with
Did
place
I?
at the end.
I know.
You should have.
I was rhyming? I was just talking. Oh. Damn it.
Yeah. Oh, we got a new member. Welcome, Commander Mark Ryer Grant. Thank you for joining the channel. Very much appreciated. Awesome way to start out alive.
It does make a difference. As you know very well, Stuart.
I do.
We turned that on one day and it really helped our monthly security in doing this job.
It usually helps when you turn things on. Just saying. That's all. I'll leave it at that. So I just won't say anymore. Anyway, welcome back, guys. Today we're talking about episode 10 of season 3 of Discovery, Terra Firma, part 2. I really wish this one would be called Terra Eterna, part 2, or the first one be called Terra Eterna. This one Terra Firma. I think that would have made, even though it's a different title, you can still do the part 2 thing.
Yeah, and Terra Eterna have been very apt because she died. So
spoilers! Oh my God, guys, spoilers in this one. I don't know if you knew that already.
I mean, have you been watching this for the last 20 weeks? We have. And Metallic Fan says, Patreon or YouTube? That's a great question. They both sort of do different things. A little bit.
Whatever you're more comfortable with. We'll just put it that way.
I mean, YouTube's fun because then you have a thing on your name and we know and we can then find that. Especially if I think we always say if you're regular in the lives, it's nice to do on YouTube just because then you're part of that little community. I can't remember which one takes more though.
If you join the lives though, quite often you get the little emoji things, plus your name gets highlighted and stuff as well. So we're more likely when it's busy and really scrolling past, especially in my first reaction reviews, I tend to call out the people that are joined. So if you want your comments read a little bit more readily, that's a good way to do it. Patreon's also really good. Yeah, Patreon's also really good. So it's up to you, whichever. Both would be great, but that's just greedy. So
it's one of those things we rely on lots of pillars to keep us afloat, and that's why that join the channel took us above that red line. So now we don't get to the red line anymore, which is great because that was bad for a bit of time, like really bad. So it's been a good year for us anyway. But yeah, both helpful for different reasons. But yes, Stuart, this is where Mandalorian would have ended, but no, we got 3 more, and they're also longer episodes. So we've got like 2-ish more hours of content left.
And no one give any Mandalorian spoilers in this chat. That would be awful. I don't know why anybody would do it, but you just mentioned Mandalorian.
I know.
I just don't want somebody to jump on there and say that was whatever. So
well, now I'm going to turn off the chat for the next few minutes because now we're not even going to be part of the chat because you said that.
You shouldn't have said anything. Anyway,
well, I said
Metallica fan 1442 has joined the channel at the rank of captain.
Oh,
welcome, captain. It is good to see you.
You outrank me instantly. Is the joy and the blessing of the joining the channel. It's very honourable to have done this for 6 years, and I feel that rank me in what appeared to be seconds of decision making by you, sir. Very kind.
He upgraded to captain. So I guess just assuming that he was commander for a while.
He got the quickest promotion, or he got a quick promotion than Harry Kim or anybody. But yes, Stuart, we did not get a 3-parter in terms of Mirror Universe. So that's not. We still don't know the cause of the burn. But we've got a solid 3 parts to get there and work out and give us some good meat there. So we're not going to be doing the same as season 1, in which we had main arc, jump to mirror, and then last episode dealing with the war, really rushed. And we're not going to have season 2, where the last 2 episodes are just like a setup and then one big battle that's really boring, actually, because it's just visual noise. So I think they've learned.
I hope so.
But, I mean, Stuart, have we really been let down this year? I mean, obviously, our scale is different to those previous years because now it got brought down because of the other seasons. But, I mean...
This season has been much better than the last 2. I will say that.
Surprising.
Yes. It feels much more like Trek. So
even when they are stabbing people, it feels more like Trek.
Yes.
Which is bizarre. But no, Oroshicum, reverse of expectations. She wasn't just like Travis. She didn't murder the Emperor, or soon to be Emperor in his case. So subverted my expectations there.
Kelpian Freedom Fighter is here, and she changed her name last night during my live to that. So, good job. Thank you, Jill. Good to see you. Metallica fan 1442, the newest captain to the Trekyards fleet, has said, "Now, how do I get a sovereign to command?" Well, that's the thing you have to figure out on your own.
You've got the chair. Now you have to work out how to install it somewhere.
Yeah.
Because there's only so many chairs. There's lots of captaincies around, but there's only so many chairs to sit in and ships to have. Well, there's only 56 viewers so far. 10 minutes in. I'm surprised people aren't necessarily jumping in. I'm going to start sharing, though. Hopefully people...
Yeah, go share, and I'll chat with these fine folks.
Okie dokie. TMO.
Yes. I agree. Kelpian Freedom Fighter, I don't want Vance to be bad. That would really be bad. So would Book, though. I don't think either one of them is going to be bad. That's my hope. And yes. As for Lissa Jericho, he says, I hope you both watched it, referring to The Mandalorian, the final episode. I have seen it. Samuel has not. So do not spoil anything in this chat for him. That would be awful, or for any of the other viewers. But I would suggest going and watching The Mandalorian if you have not already. It is fantastic. If you want to do that after this live, that's even better, because then you stay with us for the live. So by all means, feel free to support the channel either by joining, like Metallica fan 1442 did, getting a nice shiny new rank, or by putting in a super chat, which gives your question, your comment read or answered, gets you. We read it on air, so we do hear all of them. So please consider doing so. We've already got 2 super chats coming in, which is great. So keep up that flow. Also, if you want to send a PayPal, you can do that as well. Just send it to trekyards@hotmail.com. All the information for sending a PayPal is down in the description of the video. Just make sure you tell us that you sent one. That way we can check it via the email and read the comment or question that way, so that we can address it that way. Just let us know in the chat that you've done it, though, so otherwise we don't have notifications on for that kind of stuff during the live. So either we will see it, or one of the many moderators will see it. That being said, I don't think there are any moderators here right now, because I haven't seen any of them chiming in. So interestingly enough, that's quite a thing for this episode. So hopefully we'll have a moderator or 2 show up at some point. But for now, we'll try to slug it out ourselves. So 61 people watching, 45 likes. Again, that's great. Let's hit 50 likes before Samuel gets back. That's 5 more people to hit like, 4 more now, because we're at 46. And that is awesome. Guys, if you want to also support the channel other ways, you can check the description of every video. There are links to Eagle Moss. You get some Eagle Moss discounts. There's some Cheesepring store. You get some Trekyards merchandise. Lots of great stuff. Lots of great ways to show your support, either financially or just taking advantage of some of the offers that are down below. So by all means, check out the description of every video. There's always cool links and stuff, and we look forward to seeing you help out the channel in any way you can. So
but Stuart, just being here helps the channel too.
Absolutely, being part of the community. I've already gone into all that.
I'm just saying, with such love I say that,
Aww.
Yes. And I think you guys will enjoy our weekend's worth of videos. Tune in for Things and Bobs. As you know, we break things down individually. As editing those as well today. Right, how many people do we have now then? Let me jump back in.
65. But 52 likes. We hit the 50 like mark. So that's good. Cool. That's good.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we got 2 super chats to jump off into this.
Excellent.
Oi, oi, governor. Just in £5. Will we ever see the engine room on Discovery? LOL. Good to see you guys. Merry Christmas. Hope your teeth are better, Cap. I still have a cavity I need to go for on Tuesday. They missed one because this one was underneath another cavity, and she didn't catch it in the first X-ray, and that's when it's really been hurting me. So yeah, it's still got tooth pain until Tuesday. So Tuesday at 3:10 in the afternoon, which means it's before the live. So you'll see me at the live. I should be fine, though, because it's just the top. The freezing at the back is never really bad. So it's fine. But thank you for asking. Oi, oi, go there. Ronan Fahy. Don't know how to say that. Sorry. €5. Lorca takes the name Vicar, which means substitute, according to Giorgio, a sign that Prime Lorca was already in the mirror universe. That's interesting, actually. Never considered that. He is a substitute for the actual Mir Lorca. That's interesting. Oh, it could just be a Lorca in the Mir universe. It's just unimaginative.
I mean, I just took it as I'm the new substitute for the Empress.
Yeah, that could also be it. Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I didn't think that for a second because this would have been not the wrong time.
I didn't either.
Yeah, and besides, you kind of realize quite middling, and especially once you rewatch both parts, you realize Lorca is actually unimportant. He's set up to be important, completely falls down on that. It was never about Lorca, and you shouldn't dwell on him at all. He's not in this story. Both real, even his reputation sort of becomes like he's not coming for you, so I'm not gonna mention him again, really.
Yeah. Well, I expected that to be some, subversion of our expectations. I expected him to come charging to the rescue at some point. Kept waiting for him and just was let down there. So
I mean, and he could have even been at the end, post credits, like, all right, I'm here. No, dead.
Am I late? Oh, damn.
And then just shoot Sarah in the head because everyone's got to die. Aha! I killed him. But Stuart, what did you think of Sergeant Discovery? Although I believe actually they said if you consider the anime series, we're on like episode 800 of all Treks. What do you think of Star Trek episode 801?
That's interesting. I rather enjoyed it. As I said earlier with you, and these people probably haven't heard it, I found the second half to be much more interesting once they returned to our universe. I thought the Mirror universe was a little bit one tone, a little bit lacking, and not super exciting. That being said, you got to see, Killy survived, which is awesome. And you see everybody else basically get killed. So
What do you mean basically? They did just get killed.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Don't mince words. Murdered brutally in front of us.
So I guess Killy will be the new emperor because she is in position right now to latch onto that. So
youngest emperor ever.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was well handled and did it. As much as I want to say that it carried the pace through, it did to a certain degree, and then it got, like I said, a little bit one beat, and it's like waiting for something else to happen, waiting for Lorca to come in, waiting for something exciting. Then we meet this other guy who's just literally on screen for a minute and then gets shot, which could have been Lorca. That could have done something there.
And I'll go into what I thought was going to happen a bit. You know, there I had.
But yeah, to get Jason Isaacs back, I think would have been difficult. And well, yeah.
I mean, the thing is, they're actors. Like, you give them paycheck, they'll appear.
Like magic.
I mean, come on, George Takei appeared in a bathtub in Big Bang Theory. Oh, no, it was Katie Sackhoff. Well, Katie Sackhoff was in the bath, and George Takei was over him. Over them, so. She brought back Starbuck in a bath, so you pay him.
She did, absolutely.
It was tastefully done, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I did enjoy it, but I think it could have been a little bit better. Just the Mirror Universe stuff, I think, was mishandled a little bit. But returning back to our universe, there was some great stuff. Seeing Jet Reno back was awesome. The whole meta joke of where's she been was funny. And just, yeah, I obviously the Guardian of Forever was a nice reveal. That was something I really enjoyed. It was reimagined well, I think. And the explanation as to why it's kind of in hiding now and not in the original location, I think, was also satisfactory. That being said, there's probably some more stories there that I'm sure people are going to write about in books and side canon and stuff. So lots of great storytelling opportunities for the future. But, and then for Michelle Yeoh to leave the show and be set up for her own series at some point, or at least cameos in other series, which might be coming up.
Although, in fairness, she wasn't at all set up to be in a new series because they kind of let her leave. It was more just they let her exist somewhere else to be in another show. Like, they did not set up another show. Like, if you didn't hear the rumors of the second 31 show or them explicitly saying it, you wouldn't think that. Why would you? But it allowed, at least she's out of the picture and then go where the winds take her. The winds of time!
Ha! Perfect.
Yes.
But no, I thought that was all handled very well. I just think the episode overall was kind of mediocre. It's not the excitement that we expected. At least I didn't. I expected something a little bit better, especially from the Mirror Universe stuff.
Still on the Discovery scale. It was still high on the Discovery scale.
Absolutely, yes. So I mean, it is what it is.
Mm.
The Guardian of Forever wasn't really that much of a reveal. We kind of had that locked in as to what that was going to be prior because of the newspaper and little evidence like that.
We were talking about it for a while because we're Trekyards, of course.
Yes, we talked it to death.
And we will again.
So for that reveal, it was kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool. Done.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of where I stand with it. And I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes from here because now Giorgio's gone and yay. All right, that's my thoughts. So what did you think?
I think we should get.
I know you like me to ask.
I do. It's nice.
I like to hear my voice say, "What do you think, Commander?"
But guys, do super chat as well. For some reason, and you would think people would join in for this as being the payoff to this arc. But hey, hope people join in.
We're at 100. It's not too bad.
Well, we would only be at 250 by now, but okay.
Well, yeah. It's also close to Christmas. I think people are running around because we're going on lockdown again on Monday. So people, I think, are getting a lot of their shopping and stuff done. Like, it depends where you are in the world, but there's a lot going on this time of year. So I can forgive a few light numbers here and there. So
what's funny about this episode, Stuart, is that I enjoyed it. We also talked about it in depth. We knew exactly what we wanted to see, etc. But I'm the opposite to you. I found the mirror stuff more interesting than the prime stuff. I think we both enjoy both segments, but we just happen to enjoy one more than the other. And obviously, you're not into the relationship stuff, so obviously anything involving and Michelle Yeoh anyway. So anything involving those two, that mother-daughter, you're not going to gravitate towards. Whereas you like the Jet Reno character a lot, so anything with her. So I think that's more just a balance of I don't really care about Jet Reno. She's not impressed me in any particular way. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, cool, fine, okay. But mirror stuff, I like alternates, etc., etc. So that's just. But I mean, I think we both agree the split of where we fall isn't drastic. It's kind of like it just tips over on both.
But the thing is, the relationship thing with Giorgio and Burnham in this really impressed me. The way that ended out, it was impactful. It was like, that was good. You actually redeemed Space Hitler a little bit. So good job. I didn't think it could be done. So
I just meant more. You're right. I should clarify. I meant more the mirror half because you said everything in Prime. I just meant the mirror side, the relationship with those two. I was more invested, I believe.
Yeah, I thought the whole Firefly thing was stupid beyond all imagination. Just dumb.
It's a thing. Care. I mean, it's a thing, but it's a thing with no setup. But anyway, I always just rewatched it like minutes before. The first scene is really good, especially, and I remember watching it the first time and saying, I've been like, ooh, we're going right in, and thinking, okay, we're getting straight to it. We'll get past it instantly. It starts to not drag, but it doesn't ever escalate. The first episode was a really nice surprise, and it gave us 20 minutes with some nice, big, cool things of Mirror. This episode gave us the Discovery sets for 30 minutes and people talking, which is fine, except they needed some payoffs, some really strong. They needed Lorca to beam in. They needed a space battle. They needed Giorgio talking to Tyler Vok on a planet and showing her do something cool there. It needed some meat. It was bad. It didn't have that epic. Like, you can do the J.J. Abrams thrill ride in the evil universe where everything's a bit extreme. It had no big extreme, and the firefight was lackluster to say the least in the brig. That wasn't exciting. It was kind of like, okay, fine, whatever. So it was missing that snazzy bit.
It also opened up a little bit of a plot hole, in my opinion. Why are they still in Discovery 3 months later?
Never even thought about that.
They just unveiled the flagship. Yeah. You know why? Because they didn't build the throne room again. That set. So they just kept it on Discovery, which made no sense in the context of, look, we just revealed a brand new flagship.
And
are you gonna go over and see it at least once? Oh no, okay, fine.
She self-destructed it to make a point. I chose to build it. I could destroy it. And that is astounding. As soon as you mention that, it's just like, oh yeah, huh. I get the concept that maybe she's trying to rewrite her own future, and obviously now she's comfortable with Discovery because she's been on there.
True.
Like, I'm sure she never set foot on Discovery in her previous life. Why would she? It was one of thousands of hundreds of ships. Why would she care?
But a passing line from Tilly, like, I don't know why she's still on my goddamn ship.
Yeah.
Would have been great. Because Tilly coming in and say, why is Michael Burnham still breathing oxygen on my ship was fantastic. So why are you still on my ship? That one line like that would have solved the problem for me, but
no.
Anyway.
And in fact, I absolutely agree with that 100%. In fact, there should have been a moment because it takes 3 months to beat Burnham in submission. You should have a scene where she leaves and Tilly comes in and she says, "So now that you're done with Burnham, I assume you're leaving to your flagship?" "Oh no, I like this ship." "You like this ship? Am I still her captain?" "Oh yes." "But you've still got my quarters in my ready room."
Yes.
"My quarters in my ready room?" "Of course, Emperor." Like, that would have...
That cattiness would have been perfect. That's awesome, yes.
Because you're right, like, this is a who the hell cares ship. She's 23, she's good, whatever. But, yeah. Like, having... And also, the Emperor on your ship for that long is... That sucks. That's
like having your parents... like having your parents visit for 3 months.
Oh,
just
God.
leave, please.
Yeah, they needed that. And that's the... Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So, but the thing is, what I think you realise after you finish watching both... You expect a certain thing with the Mirror Universe, which they did achieve in the first version of it in season 1. Scope, scale, impact, pin-up girls, branding, man nipples. I mean, all sorts of good stuff.
Keep talking. I got to do something real quick.
Okay. I thought you were just making a joke. Sorry. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. So scope and scale, but this season and this episode in particular. It actually was a super small scale. It wasn't about this grand thing. It was about the tiny little story, which is why it feels really odd, because it's just very internal. Now, there is the besides that being a little bit underwhelming, there is, though, a little bit of narrative logic there, because Georgiou is no longer the flamboyant empress who wants to do what she did. Now she's content to be much more mediocre and moderate, as in, like, to a Terran standard. So it kind of makes sense that you would now see a more moderate, more dull Terran Empire universe because they're not doing the extremes anymore. So there's that slight... I can't imagine that's what they were going for. Let's make it more bland because she's more bland. But there is that meta filmic language there. But it really needed something, a punchline, like you'd said, like rather than having that random shuttle it should have been the Bran. It should have been absolutely the Bran. You have a green screen bridge with Lorca. You beam right to the bridge. You punch. I don't know. Or even you should have had him. So again, this is not the original idea I had, but go for it. They warp in. It's a Bran trying to leave, like we saw in season 1, but not the Nebula. Mm-hmm. Do the exact same shot again. They damage the engines. Beam him up. He beams the thing. He's like, Philippa, and then he just stabs him.
That's the completion of the plan, though. That's where Michael says, he have Lorca say you can't trust her. And then have it be all part of their plan. Yeah. That it's like you trust me until you want to.
But I could even see it being that part of how Burnham could take over the Empire would be to let her kill Lorca and then take over. So she actually does give him her Lorca, stabs Lorca, and as soon as she pulls the knife out or the sword out, turns to Burnham with the gun, shoots her in the head. Like, that would have felt also adequately, powerful, etc.
Yeah. Captain Chili Beana, $5.
Thank you.
Can't stay for the live, unfortunately, but just wanted to say hi. And also, that was oddly satisfying seeing Burnham stab Detmer. Yes.
Yeah.
That was great. Is it? Have we got everybody? Yep. Michael. So disappointed in you, because we've known it's Detmer for a long time. And then, that was awesome. Yeah, so well done.
I know it makes no sense, but I'd love to see a scene in between where they're in a private room talking about their double plan. It's like, right, okay, so we're going to kill all of our friends, but not each other, right? No, it's fine, Detmer. Okay, great, yeah, we're going to kill them. And then what was our plan? Then, like see the plan and then cut her stabbing her. And it's just like, oh. But we had a plan. And it's sad the way Detmer says, Captain! It's the most like, oh.
We slept together last night.
Yeah, like a little bit like that as well. It's like, but I thought we were soulmate.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So was it better than you expected though, or was it kind of a letdown, or were you overall happy with it?
Well, it wasn't as good as part 1 because we had expectations that were created.
Yeah.
I thought it was a surprisingly satisfying Georgiou story. Which is the whole point. I mean, that's the whole point, to get her out of the show in a big way, because she's the biggest movie star in the whole thing. I mean, I like the Guardian stuff, so that wasn't disappointing at all. At least they gave a reason. I don't know. It wasn't an epic end, but it wasn't a letdown. Except Lorca, but they wanted it to be a smaller story, and I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with it necessarily, but I understand it. And I do think in rewatching it, that the first third of the mirror bit, the first 10 minutes is really strong. The lead up, I think it would have been better if they had actually had Burnham genuinely turn to be on Michelle Yeoh's side again. I think that would have been a better way of doing that.
Yeah.
Because it set up really well that she did actually break her. So for the twist, it's like, oh, okay, she didn't. Like, it kind of undermines the first 10 minutes in my mind. Like, it doesn't strengthen it. It's just like, oh, well, what was it? Like, don't dedicate as much time towards that then, you know?
Yeah, but that's the problem. They dedicate time to stuff that doesn't need it. That's generally the Discovery vibe, and the things you're expecting to happen, they never fulfill. So, welcome to Discovery.
Oh, but this year the balance has been so much better.
It has been, absolutely, yes, but still.
God, they just needed Lorca, and that's me saying that, Stuart. Me saying that, and I'm not the biggest fan, not in any bad way or anything, just really needed that.
Yes.
It's weird. And again, it feels like a cheap episode. Like, I know the mirror stuff was expensive to make, but what I guess just on the 2 new sets, although one was in last week, like, where was the money spent? Maybe they're saving it for the next... I mean, if you look at the next time on, it's very weird and big.
That's the thing, yeah. Because they could be saving it for something really great that at the end of the season would be like, okay, that's why this episode was a little bit lackluster, or, yeah.
Basically, it's a bottle show where they... it's like Into Mirror Darkly. They invest all their money to build the sets and costumes and props to then use them fully for 2 episodes. It's actually a bottle show just with a new bottle. So same with this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what do you guys think? You know what I want to see? As we're nearly 100... Oh, yeah, 160 people. I do want to get a general like, dislike, or meh. We always ask that. Or we like to, these days anyway. Give us a sense of where we are. Because I think we're both on a pretty positive start, just with different things we wish had happened.
Yes, like you said, the part 1 was better because expectations were...
And, you know what?
We didn't have any expectations going into it yet. For episode 2, part 2, we did.
You know what? It actually is similar to Into Mirror Darkly, because part 1 was half and half, or 80% pre-TOS set, but the expectations once you got there was like, oh, and then you spend half the episode just trying to kill a Gorn, and then like they don't quite realize the potential of the episode. They obviously walk around to enjoy the sets, but they spend a lot of time on weird reasons in the second episode. You know, like it's still epic, but it's like, oh, you chose to go this way around, huh? Okay, whereas you could have gone this way around. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I guess. So, like, meh, like, meh, dislike, like, meh, dislike.
It's mostly likes.
There's a lot of likes.
Yeah.
A lot of people said it was boring and just kind of meh. So I understand that. I really do. But
I'd rather have a character study than action that means nothing. You know?
Yeah.
Because that was season 2, you know, and this is season 3. And boring is relative, but, you know, 09 is not boring, but boy is it shit. Beyond is probably more boring, but that first scene of Beyond is incredible. Like, until he gets, you know, it could be considered boring, but it's one of the best scenes of that decade, because they made pretty much good Trek of that decade, so. Anyway. Alrighty.
Yeah, well, let's see what we got going on here. The STEM support, the STEM support puts in $7 Canadian, so thank you. Does it appear that Mirror Discovery has a different hull color or texture, or is it just kit bashed 31st century refit? It's hard to say. I know this first zoom in, it doesn't look copper really, but it could just be the lighting.
No, it is. It's the same model. They didn't do anything.
Yeah. Oi, oi, Governor, 2 pounds. Discovery is still discovering itself. Absolutely it is.
But if this had been season 1, goddamn, the whole Trek world would have been different. Seriously.
Yeah, I think so.
Whereas TNG season 1 has some redeeming qualities. Anyway. So a decent shot of the ship. But then they decide to do the... They make the same... We thought they learned their lesson. What the fuck is going on?
we zoom in, we see the
Well,
grand gallery, whatever the hell it is, with the bots doing their thing.
I mean, to be fair, at least it is canonical to Discovery to have this. But
No.
why is there between two decks this massive labyrinth of shit? It just, what the hell are you thinking? And I forgot this when I was watching it instantly because I hate it so much. And why did they waste $15,000 to make this? What are they doing?
I don't know.
Pay
They
Lorca
keep doubling
instead.
down on it. It's almost like we made a new Discovery. We got the refit now. So what we're going to do is, we got to do the Mirror Universe thing because we're not going to keep this model because it's fucking garbage. So let's just use this old model. Double down on this is the ship that has the internal volume, but because we refitted it, the new one doesn't. Maybe. I don't know. That's a good question. I just don't know what they were thinking with this.
They've done
anytime.
so well. They've done so well this season. What were they thinking? Like, it would have been fine if, and I'll tell you this, if as it had gone through, there'd been like stacks of photon torpedoes. Because I could buy the Universe ship, like, there's no science.
Skeletons chained up.
Yeah, or just like torture bays. Like, it could be a cavern with weapons in. Like, can you imagine if there was like Gorn, like Gorn held up like this? It's like, oh god, really? We're seeing torture Gorn rather than torture.
Matt Boardman says Trek done by people who don't understand Trek tech. Yes. James Meisner puts in £5 and says you guys are ace. Well, thank you. You guys are ace too. But thank you very much for the super chat.
Would not be here without you. And like I say, apart from that thing, the intro is actually great. It's powerful. It's strong. I quite like the walking in and out of the force field trick. It's not primed, so you can have fun with it. It's unnecessary, but it's cool.
Is it just me, or are the floors in the ship awful? They're reflective, but they're not smooth. Like, they look like
plastic. Yeah, bobbly.
I don't know what the hell.
Yeah.
It just looks like shit.
Well, it's the same with the Discovery Enterprise. One of the worst things is the shit floor. It's like there doesn't take many changes. I mean, we're not going to dwell on the floor, as in they don't either.
I keep noticing it though, because they make it all polished and shiny, but it's not smooth. It's just crap. The reflections are all garbage. It's like, god damn, pick it, either carpet or not, and make it smooth. What
do you think of this intro, Stuart, where the Empress is allowing her daughter to basically say her piece, and it's a long piece?
It perfectly lines up with the last episode where we left off, and I think it's fine. The whole walking through the force field thing was interesting. Kind of took me a little bit aback, but that's okay. Makes sense in the context of things. Although later, in the last fight, they both like get flung through the existing force field, and that seemed like a dumb idea because nobody else probably could get in to get them because they didn't have the security clearance or whatever the situation was. It's just dumb. But anyway. Other than that,
let's say unclear.
Great. Yeah. Yes. Good tea, nice house. Puts in $5.
The best house. Really good tea and the best house.
Yes, Kevin Oxbridge knows how to make a house. It wasn't a bad episode, but I wasn't exactly Neelix wow when we saw the supernova in Voyager. I really enjoyed Giorgio in this episode. Yes, Michelle Yeoh actually had some dialogue to sink her teeth into and actually did a great job.
Although she isn't playing the same character. If you note, she's not snide, she's not snarky, she's really soft, she's for some reason really nice in this universe.
She's like the original Giorgio, Captain Giorgio.
Which is great. Yep. Although if Reader Thod's response as well, it's right underneath good tea, because it's a good another good comment, if you will.
Which one?
Just straight down after good tea.
Oh, yeah. I felt like the ending was weak, but this finally made me like the Empress.
The Expanse.
That's what I thought it said, because everybody's been talking about the fucking Expanse in the chat. She was my least favorite character in Trek. I wish they'd actually make her likable during the season. Yes, they tend to do that. They make you really care about a character the second before they leave the show or die. Like, not that we really cared about Ariam, but that episode was like, oh, Ariam's so important to the crew.
Bye.
But she's not, though.
No one never
that's just the trope, unfortunately.
Because they can't dedicate time until they have to.
And I think they even knew that, because the one line from Giorgio was, I wish I would have known this earlier, Michael, about how they felt about each other. Which is like, well, if you would have paid goddamn attention. Anyway.
But yeah, she's one of the worst characters of this show. Purely the writing, a one-note character, but she was totally different this episode and was interesting. She was a fun watch. she gave a good performance. I think her weaker scenes, ironically, the dragonfly, the light, what are they called? The
Fireflies.
Yeah. Even though she's trying really hard, it's just not a very compelling story for some reason. Like, it doesn't quite work. And so it's just like, I don't quite buy the whole scene. And it definitely feels too soppy for Mirror. Should have been a slightly more engaging story. Like, I went to your Bat'leth tournaments every week and you didn't know I was there as you killed those innocent children. I say, anyway.
That would have been better. I mean, that whole Firefly story was like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I'm sorry I jumped ahead.
Cayman Reed, though, sorry, £5.
Thank you.
What's to stop Giorgio messing with the past, affecting timeline, like when McCoy went through the Guardian, like Kirk and Spock had to follow to fix? Well, the Guardian explains that. It used to be like you went through whenever you wanted to, and if you screwed up the time, it was up to you to fix it. But obviously, he knows about Giorgio. He kind of knew that was coming somehow. So in order to send her where she needs to be cured, it needed to test her. So it was a different scenario altogether, considering the temporal wars happened in between. And that's a conversation that can be
and
a whole lot.
Probably retcon her future show, because if he was able to create an alternate universe, an alternate mirror universe, then he could easily put her in an alternate version of Earth. So, but you are right.
Into Prime, you can put her into Prime. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. But you're right though. As soon as you put her back, she's changing history, unless she's always in the past, which case, it gets confusing. I mean, they're dabbling. Once you go backwards, you've messed things up.
Yeah.
But I actually really like the speech. I like Burnham's acting a lot. I think it's well refined from last week, because she's more. Well, she's in unknown. She's in territory she didn't ever think she'd be in. She goes from like rage, sadness, misunderstanding, begging for death. It's a really good range, because she's like, "What is happening? What is this?"
Even here, this was that part that I saw in the trailer that I was like, what's that all about? Where she's like, no, please, mother, don't. Like, trying, like, you wouldn't expect it from this character being in this situation. She needs to show toughness. But the very next line is like, I'll kill you all. Every one of you, I'll kill all.
It's her trying everything. It absolutely works. Because he's also asking for death. Like, please, mother, kill me. Like, don't torture me. Kill me.
Give me the death I deserve. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it works actually really, really well. But I love this idea of, you're weak, this, and this, and Giorgio's like, oh, you have no idea. And actually, I didn't catch it first time, but she says, why else did you build the shy one? You're retiring to it. Which I thought was a really interesting concept. She's like, oh, you stupid fool. I was trying to build a big thing to conquer more, and, you can't have conquering in peacetime. And I don't know, it was just a good political scene that I was like, I like this context. It was interesting.
Maybe that explains why she didn't go over to the Charon, though, to prove Michael wrong in that regard, to kind of get her back into the fold, to stay on Discovery, saying, I'm not using that ship for my palace or retirement. That's interesting.
I had thought that too, but the Charon has way more guns and people.
Yeah, true.
And she has command codes and a throne that can throw a thing. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of we chose to spend the money on all new costumes rather than, the ships. As always, Stuart. As always.
Oi, governor, throws in £5.
Oi.
The thing that pissed me off the most is the whole Mirror Burnham pretending to be like, oh, I made a mistake. It was too obvious for me. Tut, writers. You mean her giving in to Giorgio? I think that was actually very well handled. Because you don't know how much time has passed. We hear months, and then at the end we find out it was 3 months, actually. But the torture, I think, was very well done with the agony booth, and even Killy at one point saying, how about you sleep in there? Which I wouldn't let her... Sure, it's confined space, not comfortable, but me, being the dick that I am, I would have the agonizer on, like, the lowest setting, just so it's just very irritating the whole time.
I
know you got to
let... though.
No, you don't. That's the point of the agonizer. That's what they say in Enterprise. Dr. Phlox fixed it so that it moves from nerve cluster to nerve cluster, so you can never get used to the pain. So he improved it. So there you go. Yeah. Anywho.
You had a good point. I was going to bounce off there.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah. But I thought the agony stuff was... It was appropriate. Oh no, about the did she genuinely have the conversion? See, I was very much. It is 50-50, which is what it is. Like there is no. That's obviously the chance. But I was like, I mean, it could go either way. It was so ambiguous. To obviously she's faking it, or obviously she's not faking it because I want the story to happen. I was very like it is either. Obviously, I had no specific way around. Either we're gonna get Lorca and she would be genuinely turned, or not genuinely turned and still have Lorca. And so I was happy either way. You know, I like the murder scene was great. Again, skipping ahead. But yeah, and I absolutely adored the sleep in it. I thought that was really nice touch.
Yeah,
we haven't quite got there yet. Actually,
well, no. This is where we also find out about the coalition of the which we hear about Deep Space Nine, all forming to kind of take down the Terran Empire, which was actually a nice little reference. I love that it's kind of mentioned later too, like, it was easy to dismantle that. You know, those diplomatic things are always in flux, which was great. But yeah, to have that mentioned here, I thought was a nice touch. So again, Michael Burnham trying to do what she can to get out of the situation, even offering up some information.
Yeah, and it was also nice because she like I said, is in uncharted waters of how to handle the situation. So she was actually being honest about, I want to take over with Lorca to quell this insurrection you aren't even seeing, you idiot. I'm going to tell you because you're an idiot. And she obviously doesn't with that. Although Renee has a great, which I think we both agree with, says, Michelle Yeoh pulled off the virtually impossible, making us care for the Empress Giorgio Space Hitler, I'll add that bit, which is what we call her, after a season of hammy one-liners which seemed phoned in. My hat's off to her from a fellow SAG actor. Yes. Yeah, well done to her. But yeah, it was great to name drop all the alien races. It makes sense. And it's nice because even one small change, because you do not get the sense that many races were going against them in the original version. It was just the main couple. So just by changing this 3 months, or no, I guess just this day, maybe they've changed things slightly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the next scene is where Killy comes in and says, why is Michael Burnham still using up oxygen on my ship? Which was great. Yep. Now, the thing she's looking at her at on the wall has the same teardrop-shaped button as the Tantalus device. And people got confused because this line from Tilly, she says you could kill her with the press of a button. Everybody thought this was a Tantalus field. It's not. Kirk found the Tantalus field that was unique to him. I wish they didn't make this console look exactly the same. But you could kill her with the press of a button. Could be the agonizer boot. There's probably a kill button.
Or just a communicator. Kill her.
Yeah.
Oh, instant kill.
Exactly. That's what I got from it. But everybody's thinking that they're referring to a Tantalus device, which she does not have. That is just Kirk. That was an alien scientist that he found that had that. So put that out of your minds.
It's clearly them saying she's got a Tantalus device, and that bugged me to no end. Luckily, she didn't use it or talk about it.
And it wasn't mentioned.
So it's just a fun reference until you prove it. But I mean, yeah, it's clearly the same thing. But it's just like they don't understand the episode of... But that said, though, you could argue the Emperor also... Like, of all the people, the Emperor. But the thing is, it's the Emperor on the Discovery. The same day or week. But,
yeah. And Kirk finds it later, after this.
Yeah, but she could have found him earlier and kept it. I mean, as I'm saying, maybe she already had one, etc., and then he found it later and killed the guy. It totally hurts the TOS episode. It's dumb, and it's a slight cringe, but at least they didn't make a thing of it, like a real thing. That would have been much worse.
It's definitely open to interpretation. So
yes.
James McGill puts in $5. Another enjoyable Star Trek episode. Can you guys talk like Guardian of Forever for 30 seconds?
All used to it, Mr. TOS fanboy.
I am the Captain Foley of Trekyards. You're making Sylvia laugh. It's unacceptable.
You know
Stop
what?
It. I'm the Guardian.
Guys, for another $5, and that's the lowest you can possibly give, Sylvia will come and do the voice.
I'm Batman. Yeah. Oh, Samuel's saying that Sylvia should come and do the voice.
For $5, she'll come and do a Guardian Forever impression.
Yeah, if somebody super chats.
No, not yet. Not yet, Sylvia.
Don't give it away for free. What the hell? I'm waiting for $5 super chat. Come on, I really can't. You need like a voice amplifier.
You need a woman to do the man's voice of a Guardian Forever. Have you not? It's just like Cage. They're all ladies. The Guardian was actually a, But this is this is a fun thing.
So you also thought that this was referring to like a Tantalus field?
I mean,
Because I didn't get that at all. I saw later there's a close-up of the panel and you see the teardrop thing and I'm like, oh no.
Well,
And people were talking about this in my first reaction review, but I said I got the subtitles. She does not talk about it, and that's exactly the quote.
No, I just recognized the device, and in the context of you've got one Mirror Universe episode where it could be referenced. So it's just purely in the context. I appreciate it. But...
Oi, oi, Governor throws in £5. Come on, Sylvia. Just 1 second. She'll come and give it a shot. She's busy. Matt Boardman throws in $5 and says Guardian.
Hey, how kind, Matt. Crazy man. And she can say whatever she wants, but yeah, gotta be Guardian themed.
Till she's finished here. Hold on. This seems great because it's like, well, what shows more strength? The mother who kills her daughter outright, or one that locks her up in an agonizer booth in order to change the course of the future. I thought that was perfectly done because if you kill her, she dies. She doesn't suffer.
Martyr.
Martyr, exactly. All right, here comes Sylvia. Hold on.
They don't put my pants back on and everything.
They don't see your pants on the camera.
The floor is yours.
Oh no, because that means I have to clean it. Oh god. Okay, wait, hang on. Serious face. I am the guardian of forever. That's the best you're probably going to get. Welcome. We will introduce you to time and space. I feel like I should be introducing an episode of Doctor Who. Oh shit, there's more stuff going on. There's people paying money.
And that's all you're getting, I guess.
Okay, hang on.
I couldn't help but think since you started, I thought you were going to say when Guardian Raviosa was how you were saying it. Like,
I am the guardian of forever. I can talk like that all afternoon, but then you'll probably think I've been taking peyote or something.
But Oil Governor says bravo, and Christian says crying face, so you made them cry in a happy way.
Oh, that's like a happy laughy cry.
It is.
That's one of those like I almost peed myself cried.
I think they did. Congratulations.
I made somebody pee themselves.
No, almost pee themselves.
Well, there's my win for the week. Woo!
Don't push off my desk. It's not like your desk.
Sorry! Here, you go back and do your thing. I'm breaking shit.
There you go.
And that's what she signed up to when she agreed to marry you, but didn't realise it.
Oh, yeah.
Forced to do Star Trek TOS impersonations on a live stream for 200 people. Yep.
James. Why does that happen? I don't understand. Anyway, James McGill, $5. That was terrible. Guardian reenactment, guys. But you're awesome for hosting Trekyards. Well, thank you, James McGill.
There you go. But what was awesome, though, was Tilly's acting. She's way better as Captain Killy. It's sad. She's got more nuance and is more interesting to watch as Killy. Because she's not evil. Yeah. She's enjoyably sadistic, but in a really controlled way. She's really good to watch. She's more like Spock than anyone on this bridge, or this ship. She was great in every scene, actually. She should have been in more, actually.
I love this, too, where George was like, you're the most skilled interrogator we have, so do your worst or your best. Doesn't really matter. And she's like, well, I must be given free reign. It's like, of course.
It's so charming. She's so cute. She's like, oh, I know you think I'm great, that I kill people for a living. Because I am.
She is. She's fantastic.
And that's definitely a wallpaper for you, Stuart.
Which one? That one? Yes.
Yep.
I might have put a few in the wallpaper folder. Who knows?
Then we get, Stuart, the custom title sequence.
Oh, first of all, before that, though, you do see the Tantalus device thing. You know what that looks like, literally? The little teardrop button? It looks like the BC deck of a 350 scale Enterprise model. It does. With the bridge. It even looks like the bridge module in there lit up. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they used, actually, because that looks very much like it. Especially when you zoom in on it. Anyway, because I've built one and had it in here. It's about that size, and it's fine. There you go. So you can use that for a Tantalus device, guys, if you want to build one. But yes, then we get the out of left field, upside down, reverse colored opening. Lazy.
I
At
mean,
least they didn't mirror the words too, the names.
because one of the best things about the Intimate Darkly is the rant. You've no expectations. It's suddenly this epic, amazing intro with great music, great logo, new CGI, done by the production team because they wanted to. They're not paid to make that. It was all overtime because they wanted to. And here you get a digital effect that they like. You know, it was a half an hour's work, give or take, but at least they did.
Yeah, that's true.
At
That is
least
true.
they
Yes.
did. I will give them credit for that. I will not take that away from them. But they could have done with like I was hoping for at least different music. You know, so I went in, but they'd probably do something. But should have had at least different music. And even honestly, the same music would have been good. Like that would have been by itself enough, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We should have just played the music backwards.
Or re-recorded it backwards, like actually, but because they would be like the same notes. Anyway, there you go.
Well, then we get the food slid across to Michael, which he whips against the wall. And I gotta say, they feed their prisoners pretty well. Green beans. What are those? Tomatoes.
Well, that's
Nice
one of
big
the.
piece of meat.
I appreciate the joke is that it gets progressively worse as she's in there longer. Starts out with a real meal for her captain, and ends up with one slice of white bread. So I love that.
Yeah.
That was a nice attention to detail. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Mino Other says, who gave Kirk a Tantalus device? No one. He found an alien scientist and killed him and stole his experiment, which was the Tantalus field.
And that's what got him captain.
Yes, that's what made him a captain.
Not
Absolutely.
his skill.
Nope.
Well, at least his skill of being a Terran.
Yeah. But yeah. What are we talking about? Oh yes, until he's like, it's okay if you don't want to eat. I'll have Dr. Colbert force feed you later.
Beautiful line delivery.
Oh yeah. But yeah, swear your allegiance, name your co-conspirators, rotten hell, bitch. And love the sad face on Tilly, like, oh, you called me a bitch. I've never been called that before.
Beautiful acting. And I appreciate the sense that she was probably quite good friends with Burnham, but understand like she's even to the end she was loyal to the Emperor, so it's kind of like that like great switch in her brain of, yeah, but you chose the wrong side, so I'm gonna hurt you and I'm gonna like it.
Yeah.
Although although torture is well known to not work per se, and you would think that this is a captain, both captains, like the Tantalus device is just pain, like.
No, the agonizer, not
sorry.
Tantalus.
Yes, thank you. Agonizer booth. Like, yeah, like it's the same thing. It's like it's the same weapon. You know what I mean? It's uncreative. I mean, I know it's pure pain for as long as you want, but it's like what is she saying? How can you convert someone just with pain? It doesn't seem to make too much sense.
Well, you just
break them.
I love that. I love that it's explained in Enterprise that it moves nerve clusters so you don't get used to the pain. You can't. Because that's why torture is ineffective. Because after a while, it's the same thing. You just, but that's why the agonizer boosts are so great. Because Phlox is like it shifts clusters all the time.
What a smart guy! Real creative soul.
I know. Jeffrey Jacobs, $2. Sorry, I'm late. 128. Awesome.
Hey,
let's get to 200. Yay! We finally have a moderator after what? An hour in. Thanks, guys. Just kidding. So 205 people watching, 132 likes. That is awesome, guys. Hit that like button. Let's get to at least 150. 200 is a little ambitious right now, but we can hit 150 easily. That's only 28 more likes. So.
And this is quite an interesting episode. I did put in your super chats for thoughts. But I absolutely loved this. She slept in it and got woken up by an alarm. I thought that was just very
immediate torture. That was awesome.
And the lack of dialogue, the Oshcom just like, hello.
I've had a nice comfy sleep.
I had sex 4 times last night.
I was going to say that, but
And now I'm here to hurt you. Best post-sex cigarette I've ever had is torturing you. I mean, just the way that was framed, one thing I felt second time watching, I actually kind of felt uncomfortable. This point, I was enjoying watching someone get tortured.
I was too.
And thought it was a good scene. And that's
I'm really bad with torture scenes. I hate them. The one with Picard. And,
well, that's
Chain of Command.
Yeah.
That really bothers me, like extremely. Usually torture is very, but this one is like, I don't know if it's too over the top. Maybe that's why. But it was like, I'm enjoying this.
Well, it's blunt. It's just pain. There's no blood. There's no psychological. It's just you understand it just hurts.
Yeah.
But obviously not. Burnham is not a well-loved character. This season helped a lot, but it's still a certain level of. But the thing is, and actually, this is one thing that definitely came into my mind. Unfortunately, right, this show feels very at home in the Mirror Universe. It's very angular art design. Its use of the weapons and the armor. It's as if they should have made a Mirror Universe show the entire time, because I'm enjoying watching graphic murder in Star Trek in Mirror Universe, and they clearly are very comfortable with it. It's as if they were trying to hold back from this all season 1 and yet putting it into Prime as much as they could with, sex and boobs and violence and ripping out, But here it feels totally appropriate and it's weird. It's very much like this show belongs in the universe and never, it's weird.
Yeah. But then we get Culber show up, and I love that Michael's like passed out and he wakes her up like, nope, you're not getting any rest. I thought that was great. I love his red uniform. I love the Red Doctor's Mirror Universe uniforms.
And his body language sells it all. He doesn't say a damn thing. And yet he has so much personality. It's quite impressive, considering.
Yeah. But yeah, then we get Detmer shows up, and I thought this was the stupidest thing ever.
It was very surprising.
Yeah. She's like, they're listening in. She's like, I know, but I asked to see you. You're the best of us. You have to give in. It's like nobody would hold it against you, Anyway. And I got to admit that one panel on the wall behind her and on the side of the brig looks very TOS. It's got the TOS colors. It's got blue, yellow, red.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
It feels very TOS to me. So, but yeah, Michael looks like shit. And if this didn't clinch it, that Detmer's, because Tilly says, I think Detmer was, helping her earlier. And then here it's like, yes, of course. So the whole fact that later she says Detmer can help you. I just love that because it's testing Michael to see whether she's going to take out Detmer or not. Anyway, yeah.
And
interesting scene.
And Brent C says Prime season 1 is darker than Mirror season 3. A little bit sometimes, yeah. This scene I honestly didn't understand it because it felt like she was a hologram, a trick. Because Giorgio knows because it's already happened once. So I was expecting this to be a hologrammatical trick or a tortured person. The way it's played is like, I mean, there's no guards.
It's a hallucination or something.
Yeah, it's played too straight because she should be in prison. She should be tortured. She should be ill. How is she doesn't have free will? Like, do you really think Giorgio's just walked in and said, "Hello, Detmer. Hello, Emperor. Can you talk?" Where's the connective tissue here? Like, did she torture Detmer for also 3 weeks to break her? Because the only thing I can take here is that she tortured her too, but I don't quite understand why this is happening like this. It's weird. I don't get it. I very much was convinced it was a hallucination, like you said, or a hologram. It's weird.
It's somebody that in Detmer's position, if she hadn't been already captured and put in the agonizer booth, she wouldn't risk doing this just to, like, is she that close to Michael? Like I said earlier, did they, after the stabbing scene, well, we just slept together last night. Is that kind of relationship going on between these two? Like, it seems like an odd thing for her character to do because it's basically outing yourself as somebody that's conspiring.
So it makes you think, obviously, she has a deal with Giorgio, obviously, but she doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a very strange scene. Like she injected by Culber some drugs to make her see things as well. Very, very strange. I don't quite understand it. It's good acting, though, by Detmer actress. I thought she did pretty well here. It added to the confusion of it. It's like, what are you going for here, exactly? And one more little bit of credit. I'll try and find a good still, but I absolutely adored, and it pointed out every time to me, that the makeup's horrible, but on Burnham, but you can see that there's a tear line down her cheek where she had to cry at some point during the torture, and it's now dried on her face because her face is so dirty, but that's cleaned part of her face. It's so subtle and really like, oh, that's like, I think I found it still. It's really gruesome as a concept. Like, she cried but didn't mean to. Yeah, just smudged her non-makeup. Yeah, it was good. Although she looks so bad. Like, has she not eaten for 3 days and been force-fed? Like, how many... Like, you don't quite bias his months, but also again, it's weird. The time jump is doesn't feel like time's been passed, but it has. It's weird. Yeah.
Well, it's obviously lack of sleep because they're pumping her full of drugs to keep her awake. They're also letting her sleep in the goddamn Nebuchadnezzar booth all curled up, like
it's everything put together, which is kind of hard. Why it's hard to understand it.
Yeah. Jeff Jacobs though, $2, 150. Great. 200 next. Blew it to do it. Hashtag make Jeff pay. Thank you very much, Jeff. 151 with 200 people here. Let's get to at least 175. Hit that like button if you haven't.
Please do.
And yeah, that'd be awesome. So now comes the scene that I could give a shit about. They need to cut it out of the episode for it to be good for me. Is this whole, when you were a kid, you barely spoke during the day, but at night you screamed and yelled and had night terrors. So I followed you. You slept walk out to a field, and the fireflies calmed you down. And here's some fireflies. Bye. Again, as in a hallucination, I would have bought it better, but I know they're trying to soften Michelle Yeoh's character,
which does work. That is effective.
But the scene didn't do it for me though. I didn't give a shit.
Well, it needs justify the mean. The ends justify the means.
Yeah.
Because it definitely doesn't feel like Mirror Giorgio, but then we haven't really seen Mother Giorgio. And I agree, this scene is definitely weak, but it needed the payoff of, I was expecting Burnham to wake up or either be awake already, threaten Giorgio, she walk away and then just fling the fireflies at the wall. That was the obvious way I thought it was going to end.
Did she hear her? Because after Giorgio leaves, she gets up, sits up, and has a piece of the bread. Like, yeah, I got the idea that she didn't hear at all.
Yeah, no, not
just
at all.
Subconsciously maybe. But to wake up with this thing beside you, it's like, oh my god, what is this now? She should have looked at it and kind of went, like thinking it was some kind of new device or something.
SETI Alpha Eagles? Oh shit!
But just the look at it, sit up, and then rip off a little piece of the bread. I thought that was effective. But this is just dumb to have this here. I don't know. I just thought this was a stupid scene, and I didn't really care.
Yeah, or have it have been. I mean, they had to make a transition scene to have it be, to have us believe Burnham might change her mind now. That was not the correct scene to have. They had to have something. Now, I like the acting a lot here when she sits up and then has this moment. Although clearly she's just been filled with food intravenously because she looks a lot healthier than she did 5 seconds ago. But that's okay. I guess she was sleeping finally. But I do like that she sees the fireflies. She understands the message of "I'll always look after you. I'm not going to give up." But yeah, it doesn't. I mean, obviously, you meant also not know if she really is turning or not. But yeah, a bit weird. Doesn't work too well. And I'm just going to move on because doesn't do it. Although, last note on this though, because the last time we see it, season 1, I'm 90% sure their undershirts were just the Discovery uniforms because they just put them over the top. This is a brand new undershirt. It looks great. I think it's actually a really nice looking jacket, and she looks actually really good in it, I think. So I guess they were like, hey, we'll spend money to make full new jackets, because why not? Or maybe symbolically they're not doing the jackets in season 4, so like, how make new ones? But yeah, not a good scene. Moving on. I did like this scene, though. The very submissive Burnham. I thought the acting was really strong.
Yeah, the you asked to speak to me thing. Get off the floor. Look at me.
Nice salute, etc.
Yeah, and I love that we find out later that Giorgio never actually really trusted her and had a backup plan, if you will, because he never trusted you the way I wanted to. But yeah, this scene, you're not sure what's going to happen. Like, is she still going to betray her? Did she come around?
So it's well played for that.
Yeah, and even the Emperor said all I ever wanted was to rule with you. Which I can't see the original Emperor ever saying. But I don't know.
I think more, that's a bit of a tangent, but I think more a case of when I retire, if I retire, you'll take over and I'll still be there giving you things to do. And
you'll take care of me, yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. That doesn't really seem very season 1 her.
No. But Michael Burnham's like, I'll expose my co-conspirators. I'll let you know everybody's name. She's like, that's great, but how is everyone else going to trust you? You need to prove it. You need to make amends not only with me but with everyone else, and show that you're
a changed
all
woman.
of our loyal subjects. Yeah.
You come back to the good side.
You will execute the traitors with your own hand.
No, she offers, doesn't she?
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Because she says, how will you make it up to the subjects? How will they trust you again? Then she says, I will execute the traitors with my own hands. No foe will remain. Traitor's like, yeah. Detmer can assist you. I'm thinking, hey, you can't be that dumb.
Yeah, yeah. I do like Giorgio's minimalist reaction here. I think it's very fitting.
Yeah. And then don't come back to you proving yourself. And the whole Burnham saying, well, you can trust me. You can trust me again, Mother.
Yeah. It was good. It's not, and it's great because it doesn't feel in character with the other Burnham. You're at a point where this other version of her is genuinely acting quite a lot different. I like it. It's quite refreshing. Like, she's given us a really big range this episode and last episode. Less so last episode, more this episode. Like, it's really all over the place, but in a good way.
Then you get the most useless character in all of Star Trek, Landry, who gets killed. Just, people look at her the wrong way. She dies because. Anyway, I don't know what precipitated this either. Like, she's walking down and Detmer. The way this scene played out and the lead into it wasn't really clear. We should have seen Michael Burnham. Well, I guess not, because we see her in a second. Landry blows up the thing because Detmer shoots at her, and then Landry immediately gets shot by Michael Burnham. It's like, okay, this is the beginning of it all. That's fine. But the scene seemed out of place to me.
It's just not entertaining. Which is, you know what I mean? As an action, it's just not entertaining. Because you assume... I think you come in to assume that Detmer's like second in command of Shinjo. Like something like that. Like that high up. Like she's here as a personal helper from Shinjo. Because she was on Shinjo, but you know what I mean? But she's obviously unskilled as all hell. To just pull a phaser on somebody into the hallway with no plan clearly. Like, if you were going to kill them successfully. Yes. Like, that's not a plan.
Subterfuge.
And then why is Burnham on a different corridor? Because she's got to get past you, but it's like if she's going to kill you. Is a stupidly flawed plan in every way. It shouldn't have been that. It should have been more like Burnham Detmer walks up to Landry and says, "It's a go." She's like, "It's a go," and then Burnham stabs her in the back. No, you're a, it was bad. It wasn't.
Or even just to have Detmer like from the back and you have his communicator open and says, "Understood." Flips it closed, turns around, and starts heading towards Landry. That would be better because she got a message. Yeah, got a message from Burnham.
You have one corridor and 45 minutes to shoot it. Is what it felt like. It was very strangely uninteresting. And think about, I mean, obviously she got a paycheck, good for her, but she got no lines and 3 minutes of screen time just to die.
Well, she got lines last episode.
Did she?
With the Kelpian, yeah. She's like, what did you do? You spilled it.
Oh, yeah, she got one line.
Yell at the Kelpian.
You're right.
She yelled at the Kelpian.
Yeah, she got one line. I mean, good to bring someone back, but not a particularly effective use.
Well, she's just a useless character. I hate her. So, Zachary Tyson, $5. The best episode of Disco ever because we get to see Michael Burnham die. There you go. This next scene, though, I really appreciate. The most loyal of them sitting there with the Emperor.
Yes.
And the tossing the thing like Landry, and you see it like spin. That was really well done. Lands. You see it's like a dog tag essentially, just like the Discovery ones are. So you got her serial number and stuff, and then Bryce, and then dumps out all the other ones and everyone else.
Yep.
Is that everyone? And Detmer's like, yep. And Michael, I'm disappointed in you. Yep. And I loved that this was a good payoff for Detmer. This was actually really, really well done in my opinion. Great to see.
Yeah, this was one of the best scenes in the episode because it showed Giorgio is in control. And it showed that she could be in control in a very gentle way without having to yell or throw a spinning disc that stabs everyone in the head and be... No, she can be simple and effective. Would have been far more effective if this was on the Chiron or a bigger ship, because just being in their ready room feels cheap and simple. It does undermine it a little bit, Or if it had been
And
on
look at the floors. Look at the floors. I'm sorry. What's with the wobbly textured floors? I'm sorry. Continue.
I really wish Oshicum and Tilly had some lines in this scene. They didn't need them, but I wish they had. I wish they'd been talking originally, and then they walk in like some more politics. That would have been great, and maybe even like as a hint to the Plan B. That I think because they're just a good little team. But yeah, I thought it was great. And the CGI of the badge is very blatantly CGI. I like the effort. Didn't quite work, but how that's a hard thing to do, and they didn't do it that well, or at least they didn't make it look real, but it achieved the goal.
I thought it looked great. I loved it. It didn't look quite real, but I just loved the slow mo.
Yeah,
and
it's
just
a really
the
hard
shape
thing
of
to
it
do.
spinning.
Yeah,
looked really good. So
it's one of those things that you probably couldn't do in you couldn't make it look good in real life or in CG. It's just that weird a thing to do, but it works very effective. And I like the amount of blood on Bryce's one. That was nice and
poor Bryce.
Yeah, no, it was great. I thought it was a really, really good scene, and yeah, it was very poignant, and yeah, as someone said, really satisfying to watch Detmer get stabbed. It's like, you got murdered. It's like, oh damn.
Should have stabbed her in the eye that she has the implant in. That would have been great.
Giorgio's like, you know what? She doesn't look good with two eyes, but she's dead. Yeah, that's not enough. So.
Yeah, something that you could see her doing for sure.
And it cuts from murder party to dinner party.
Yes.
Literally.
But Chris Carlin, though, throws in £5. Evening, lads.
Even.
Glad to see the end of this crappy year. Thanks for all the content and all the best for 2021.
Oh, gosh.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is. God, it's so near Christmas, guys. At some point, that'll be our last live before Christmas. Gosh.
Yeah.
We're almost at the end of the year.
Next week's schedule is going to be all messed up, so just pay attention to what's going on.
Well, put it this way. 1 week from today is Christmas Day. 2 weeks from today is New Year's Day. Well, the 1st of January. So, not the best days to do Discovery reviews. Christmas Day and the 1st of January.
So they're going to be offset a little bit, but just bear with us. We will get it done. So
I don't think anyone's going to be saying, "Oh, where's my Trekyards for the week?" Which is fine. But then
they should be.
Well, but then before they get to sleep, they'll be like, "Did Trekyards release a video on Christmas?" Oh, they didn't. And that's
How
fine.
dare they?
Yeah, bastards. Well, to be fair, we did do that the first couple of years. To be fair, we did do Merry Christmas, so we might. Yeah.
That's true. Good Tea, Nice House throws in $5.
Thank you.
The Fireflies were a brilliant reference to that short Trek episode with Baby Burnham. Giorgio tells the mirror version of her dealings with Night, or for dealing with Night. That stupid animated one. I forgot that even existed. Sorry.
But the thing is, that was a story that real parent told real daughter.
And she pictured herself in it. Yeah.
They didn't die at the same time, the same way. I mean, I know what you mean, but it doesn't work.
But Samuel, have you heard? The kitchen no longer serves Kelpian. So if you're having a craving for ganglia, I'm sorry, but it's too high in cholesterol and too stringy. So
great dialogue, great art design, love the colors, love Saru here. And I love the fact she's like, yeah, eating you. You're not great to eat, are you? Oh no, we're not. We're not that tasty. Yeah. So what a great line. Like, it's such an odd scene. Like, yeah, it's great. It's
and even the dismissal, like the way she dismisses him is still so like in character for the Emperor. But still, like, I'm not going to eat you.
Well,
it was a nice balance for sure.
It's nice to see, and it's not subtle, but it's not. She can no longer see him as a servant. He's a person.
Yeah.
Now, a person that might be serving her, but a person now, not a thing. Now, the only problem with this scene is just the context that after Giorgio dies, everyone will go back to eating Kelpians again, because only she has said it on her ship. There's no sense of, she doesn't say I've freed the Kelpians, or, there's nothing beyond this. As soon, if this universe exists still, like, everything will stay exactly as it is, but only she's changed her kitchen. So
the implication is, and it's even mentioned by the Guardian, that she told him about the Vahari, and now he's gone through it, so he'll spread that to other people, and eventually it'll become some kind of rebellion, and he will save a lot of people or whatever. So there is that implication.
Although in rewatching that scene, I very much took it as you'll save a lot of Kelpians, not like people.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yep, I totally agree with you. Yep.
Yeah, because when we talked earlier, it felt like you were saying something more grand.
No.
Just
not
Kelpians.
at all.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just Kelpians. Yeah. Good tea, nice house, $5.
Thanks, Gabe.
Watch again. There were fireflies, and her eyes lit up when she saw them.
no,
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at
I mean, I
all.
remember it. It's just a really not interesting short about a story
I don't
that
even remember it.
the short was also changed. The story was also changed for Discovery Season 2, so they didn't even bother keeping their own story straight. It's a different story. So,
So then we get the whole. I came to the realization weeks ago, and yet you remained in the brig. I'm just stubborn.
I didn't like that line. That didn't make sense to me.
Wow.
Because if it's only been 3 months, really? I mean, daily torture? I just... Why do that to yourself? I don't see a good reason.
No, it could have only been a month. It could have been 2 months of like her working with her. I don't know. But anyway. But this is where we get to systematically use back channels to take down coalition. And I love it. It wasn't hard. Those silly democratic things are always just on the brink of failure. But you heard me. She said, "Oh yes, I've been able to hear the truth, which I expect you to tell me from now on."
Yeah,
I thought that was great. So that was well handled, taking down the coalition.
And also just the way like I said, the room looks good, the lighting is nice, the blue, the orange, the reds, and the way Burnham acts is really interesting in the scene. It's a very again, she acts very differently in every scene, and it works. I wish more scenes were like this. And I really wish Burnham had stayed on the side. I think that would have been better for the episode, and Law could just come in. And I think this is a really good scene. Yeah, no, absolutely. Although but
the whole "do you still love Lorca?" Well, he left me for dead. That's not a no.
That's a good line. That's a good line. And again, the acting is so great in her eyes. Burnham's like, like there's something going on there. Like I wouldn't even be surprised if she is actually going to kill Lorca at some point in her brain. Like, I think she does genuinely think he left me for dead. Well, I mean, I'll kill him.
She does say when we find him, I'll be able to kill him, is what she says.
But that's still in the, I think I'm on her side. She thinks I'm on her side. I do think, though, she's now turned against Lorca as well in the scene. I think there's a slight... Because the way she's acting feels so genuine. But she's a good actress in the universe as well. Although I do wish they'd had Tyler Vock in this scene, or a flashback to show about the coalition or something. Maybe she's working with Klingons now to try and build a better empire. Like you need some they're implying things about this grander universe is changing, but all we see is the same 3 rooms.
Discovery does not want to go, hey, look, we're Klingons. Here's our Klingons again. They want to stop. We don't want anybody to think about it.
Hey, oh my God, Tyler. No, sorry. Oh my God, Vock, you've got hair now. Yes. We're not at war anymore, apparently. I've got hair now. Oh. They fly now? They fly now.
Dear God. Snoopy McQueen, $5.
Oh, thank you.
Since this is the best season of Discovery so far, where do you rank the season of Disco so far with other Trek seasons? Ooh, that'll have to be... No, I'm not going to answer that right now.
Yeah.
That's a end of the season retrospective Trekyards discussion.
Yeah. But, put it this way, Discovery Season 1 is the worst Trek season out there. This is not the worst Trek season out there.
It's a good answer.
Yeah.
Here we get the whole thing about his alias Vicar and how it means substitute. And, somebody pointed out earlier they thought it was Prime Lorca at this point because substitute. But I like your idea better, substitute for the Emperor. That makes more sense here. So yeah, I never once thought it was Prime Lorca. I still wanted to see Lorca at this point. I'm like, please,
show us real evil Lorca. Like he never got to truly be evil. Like because presumably, to be fair, he was spent a year in the Prime Universe 2 trying to be good. But it's still W. So he was never as evil as we ever saw, which would have been fun to see for sure. It's a good scene. And then you get probably the best written scene in the episode, give or take. And there's quite a lot of good writing here. But this scene is so surprising. I think this scene is the most important scene in this episode because it shows that actually, even though she's now fully committed to being back in the Mirror Universe, she is a good person in this scene with nothing to gain except keeping a good servant, which is not, in this context, enough. She acts so gentle and so peaceful and so serene. And Saru's great here too. Really strong scene, really well acted, and it'd be great to have a hypercut with this compared to just Giorgio being a real bitch earlier in the season for no reason. It's like, where was this her? Like, you're with evil people, why are you being so nice? But it just works so much better. You know, I thought the scene was brilliant.
Yeah, the whole "you're not going back to Burnham, you're going to be mine." He's like, "Oh, I don't think I can do that." I was like, "What's happening right now?" And then you get the explanation that the Vahara is coming for me. Who told you that? Well, no one. I can feel it. Like, and she's like, "Trust me, that's not an end. I knew a Saru. I knew a Kelpian. His name was Saru." So I get the feeling that this guy is not named Saru. He doesn't have a name because he's a slave.
But doesn't she call him Saru at the end?
Yes, she does.
Yes, she
It's
does.
weird.
Because they needed like a reaction shot of him being like, "Ooh, it's my name."
Yeah, but when she said the Kelpian named Saru, I expected a reaction shot for him, like.
Oh, there wasn't. Ah.
No,
that was weird.
And then when there was no reaction at all, I just assumed because he's a slave, he has no name.
Yeah, why would he? Yeah.
So anyway, but no, that was great. And the whole he was a captain, and he realizes right away. He goes, "Oh, you must have must have been far away. Wait a minute, you got to go back where you belong, otherwise you're gonna die. You're not Terran." I love that. She's like, "I totally am. Trust me." And it's like, well, you're both kind of right now. Yeah, it was a good scene. It was a very interesting scene.
This is the scene, like I say, that tells us this has changed. This is the real scene, and this is also several months in, as we said, because he does say in the scene 3 months. This is the time jump one, and yeah, the fact that this non-Saru questions her mirror universe-ness is so satisfying, and her face is like, ooh. Like, that hits her to a core, but she also accepts it as being probably, oh. That's really satisfying. That was a good payoff. Really good payoff. And although it is very strange that she would go into this much detail, because he clearly clocks on that she means some other universe. Because there is no Kelpian captain anywhere in the universe. Well,
it's almost like he has knowledge of the Prime universe, the way he says it, though.
Some universe. Let's not say just a alternate.
Yeah. He says, "You are not Terran." Like, it's just...
No, I think it's just you're from another place. Like, because she does say another place and time. She's actually extremely clear, actually. Yeah. So it's very strange, but it's nice. And I love that she's like, you know, I can tell loyalty versus kissing my butt.
Yes. Otherwise, I'd be long since bones. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean
where's that line?
And that's quite sweet. So actually likes her. And to be fair though, she's been a really great master to him, probably his best master ever, and she's a bloody emperor. So you can imagine he's thinking, oh, the Empire, for all the Terrans, is actually in quite good hands right now. Hence the loyalty. And as you're finding that, I definitely thought in this scene, though, that this was the setup for Saru stabbing her at the end, because telling her about this thing that, you know, you've been cold for centuries because of us might lead to
and this will
revenge.
make you stronger if you lock yourself away. You'll come out stronger on the other side. Yeah,
I thought it'd be, and just some, and they'd all understand it. It's like, you know, your empire killed my people as cattle. I'm going to kill you back. I was quite surprised it wasn't that way, but I can also understand that, you know, you've told me the secret, and they kind of imply that the other guy with him is also went Vahari. Like, they both did it. They just happened to both be at the same cycle. To me, anyway, like, because they're scared without the Vahari, so like they wouldn't both be able to shoot the guns necessarily. But anyway.
Yeah. The exact quote is, my corpse would already be eaten to bones if I could not accurately judge between loyalty and flattery.
That's great.
Which is great.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And your regret was genuine when you thought you were leaving me here, as was your pain when your comrade fell.
And I love him saying, "It'd be my honor if you killed me. That'd be great."
If you could call me, and she's like, "I will not do that." He's like, "I'm sorry if I overstepped my bounds."
Is that?
Shit, I'm dead.
But it's quite an honor to be cold and eaten by the Emperor of the Empire. That's quite an honor. But I love that. Like, that's such a. They understand what. In some scenes, they just understand exactly what they're going for. You know, some scenes they really knock it on the head, as if they should do the whole show of the Mirror Universe and just not look at Prime.
and then they answered something that I've been wondering a while, because she looks at the bracelet and it's still green. Like, how long have you had this goddamn bracelet on? Have you left it on the whole time? That's obviously she does, because at the end we find out it's got 3 months of data on it. So
has no one noticed it?
Yeah.
No one
Just
asked.
a fashion accessory. Yeah. No one would ask the Emperor. They wouldn't. Saru might.
As you actually said earlier today, it's actually technically a 32nd century device.
Yep.
So it should be scannable as being materials not invented yet.
Yeah.
But I guess she was never technically beamed anywhere in this show. And that might be honestly why she hasn't moved ships, because maybe like there's a scan that has to happen when you swap ships, and so she stayed on Discovery because she. I mean, that's not in the script. I'm not inventing something, but that could be a nice reason why she's like, hey, I can order Tilly not to scam me here, and like.
Yep. Star Trek Pathfinder, $5.
Okay.
Yeah, but some Trek is better than no Trek. That's a lot of people would disagree with that, but
because just like Star Wars, having these 3 sequel films have actively hurt the fan base, the interest, and each film got less review and less revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, bad content hurts the fan base, hurts the interest, hurts the next time.
In a way, I agree with some content is better than no content. I do agree with that to some degree, but at the same time, bad content is damaging. So
well, it's like Bruce Willis, right? He now mostly does direct to DVD movies. So seeing Bruce Willis is better than not seeing Bruce Willis in shitty films that no one watches or enjoys. It's like, or would you rather wait for one new Die Hard I'm saying if he did them, that was really good. Bad content hurts the universe, especially if they have unlimited canon resources. I mean, they damage the Picard character in Picard, so no Picard would be better than some Picard. So I just you can hurt the franchise. I mean, Doctor Who, there's a reason why it got cancelled was Sylvester McCoy, because it got worse and worse, and they got cancelled because they were like, well, let's keep making it because we can and we should, and then they got cancelled because it was a certain quality level, which was not enough.
And Picard is damage to the character, so.
And it's not as if like a medium, like TNG or Voyager, right? They were still okay at the end. So okay is better than bad is better than none, but bad is better than none, I would say.
Star Trek Pathfinder puts in another $5 and says, every comment I am thinking of, you guys are already saying it. Trekyards is awesome. Well, thank you.
And good looking uniform in your little box.
Yeah.
Good job.
Eugene, 200 rubles.
Eugene, your hair.
Good pilot for Section 31, but ultimately a bad thing for Discovery. Yet another non-bland character leaves the show. Yeah. Star Trek Pathfinder, another $5. I was referring to Season 1 of Discovery. Season 1 led into Season 3, which is better. So I get what he's saying.
And to be fair, the amount of YouTubers that made thousands of dollars off bitching about it, I mean, hey, they would say better to have bad than none in terms of their bank accounts.
But they wouldn't, though, because they're the ones that say, well, this isn't my Star Trek.
Yes, but then their bank says thank you for the income. So
I know.
Yeah, I mean,
anyway.
But come on, I mean, obviously we were all here during Season 1. I mean, the bad press it was getting, the bad stories. I mean, we were living it. It was a bad season of every concept.
And we tried to look for the good in it.
And we found some.
Both.
We found some. Just, And the Mirror Universe were the best episodes. And the Mud one. Yeah.
All right, so we're on the bridge. Everyone's on the bridge, including Arium, but not Arium. And we find out that there is a message from Duggan, which is one of Vorka's top lieutenants, and it originated at Ryza. So that was just 6 hours ago, so he might be there. So they set a course for Ryza Warp 9. Important that it's Warp 9.
Which is, they never give us warp speeds in Discovery.
Nope.
And that was quite satisfying, actually.
Which I think Warp 9 for pre-TOS is really quick, because I don't even think the TOS Enterprise... I think Warp 9 was like its emergency, like top speed. I know they went Warp 14 because that's the old warp scale, and that was the Andromedans that did that. But guys, I'm just saying, I think its top speed was Warp 8 point something.
Cruising was 7, yeah. And then when you warp scale shift it, it's like right Warp 5.5, and that's okay. And thank you, Pathfinder, appreciate it.
But this line from Killy kind of bothered me a little bit, because it's like she was going to turn on the Emperor or kill Burnham any chance she got. She said, respectfully, hunting down a mercenary doesn't seem worthy of the Emperor's time. I'll go with Burnham aboard a shuttlecraft. And please, no shuttlecraft. But then the Emperor's like, no, I'll go. Might be fun. And then the whole as you wish, and that look on her face as she turns like,
give me back my ship.
I just want to be away. I just want to be away from her. Yeah. She wants to kill Burnham, I think. She wanted to go with Burnham and during the mission. And then Commander Nielsen Commander Nielsen, not Lieutenant now. Maximum warp. So.
Yeah, it was very odd, the suggestion of a shuttlecraft. Because what if you warped in and they were in a battleship? You said
Like the brand.
Yeah. Like, you're a captain of a Terran Empire starship. You would never suggest that. This ain't no TNG to a medical colony. Like, what was that suggestion? I didn't understand that. It was a stupid, non-making sense. I liked the concept of, Emperor, do you really want to go? But the thing is, she's on your ship. Of course she is. She's here for a reason. You know? So that wasn't a strong bit of the episode, although I did quite like the looks she was given, etc. And I really like the cinematography of them warping and then dropping out of warp, because I understood it was a visual storytelling technique of time has passed, we're getting there. That wasn't literally we're there in 1 second. That wasn't what I was trying to do. It was a time has passed, but it was a It was kind of like a okay, in Twilight. The camera goes around Bella and it changes seasons as it goes, and it's a very useful way of showing time has passed. It's a very efficient. But shuttle bay open, and hey, first time we've seen Riser since DS9. No, well, since Enterprise, I guess. Yay! Although, as they said in the comments, no rings in Prime Universe, so I guess there's Prime as rings in Mirror Universe. Way.
Well, it takes us something getting destroyed in orbit for that to happen, so it's perfectly feasible here.
Yeah, I mean, we get to Riser. I mean, good, cool. Riser's nice.
Turd Ferguson, $5. Saru wanting Emperor, wanting her to eat him, was the cow from the restaurant at the end of the universe wanting Arthur Dent to eat him. LOL. Yeah.
That's good. I like that. And Don says maybe their shuttles are well armed, more well armed than their bigger ships.
Speaking of,
because why would you risk 2 captains just for
Speaking of, we got one ship, a single Class A shuttlecraft, and it's a new shuttle. They actually designed a new shuttle when they could use Discovery shuttles, which they've been using all along, whether it's appropriate or not. They designed a new shuttle, which we'll probably have an episode about that because we're Trekyards.
I'm getting to character for a second. We got a new ship. We got a new ship. There you go. There's the line. And boy, they make such a big deal out of this guy being a thing, and he's such a letdown in every conceivable way.
Well, he's a cheap bastard. He still isn't fixing his shuttle properly.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And the thing is, this scene is worse in retrospect because I think it's leading somewhere, going in, just like, yeah, cool, stuff's happening, momentum.
Yeah.
And then it falls off a cliff of cool stuff.
Disable that ship. So we're going to fire a photon torpedo at it. Disable that ship. I want him alive. Okay, well, let's fire a photon. What? Wouldn't you phaser? Just...
And I was very much waiting for them to accidentally blow it up and say, I said disable it. Kind of like Kern from Star Trek 3. I was kind of surprised they didn't kill him.
Or Spaceballs. I said across her nose, not up it.
Although then you get a weird moment where they're like, arm phasers and fire. Beat. Scan him, beam him over. It's like, what? Beam him before you attack the ship. Jesus. Don't know why. If you're going to attack, why are you waiting to press the button to attack? That was a weird... Yeah.
Well, he talks here about it was funny. Lorca's out making new friends. You tried to stop some ridiculous coalition, but guess who has now rallied the Klingons and Romulans against you? She's like, well, they despise one another. Yeah, but they despise you a lot more. He promised her head on a pike, a spike.
And that would have been so cool if we'd seen like a Romulan and a Klingon. I almost was expecting like them to warp in with Lorca at the end.
Decloak.
Like, because that that would have been so satisfying. If we had this little shuttle, this was the trap, and then at the end you have a D7 and a bird of prey decloak. They can probably kit bash the one from Picard, make it like.
Then you got to rewrite your ending, and this would be a 3-parter then for sure.
Well, no, you just have them shoot Discovery, like disable its shields, and then be on board and kill Georgia. Like it's just you just don't have the, And what you'd have is you'd say that Burnham gave them the shield harmonic frequency and disable the warp drive. I mean, there's and that would be epic. They've already got the D7, and you've got a bird of prey model. A lot you could do there. But yeah, this is where the episode gets weaker. It was strong up to this point. Like there were interesting scenes that led up to good stuff. This is where it starts to fall down a bit, as they're not committing to the beat. They're not committing to the bit. They're just
Yeah. Star Trek Pathfinder. Hold on, sorry. Mark Lawrence first.
President!
$5.
Yes, sir. Emperor.
The no ships within 100 light years line was what the fuck? 10, maybe. No way 100 Earth. No way 100. Earth is 90 light years away from Risa. Yes. Star Trek Pathfinder,
hold on.
$5.
And it's doubly funny because they imply the planet's dead for whatever reason, but there's lights on the planet's surface. And if it's still a pleasure planet, it would still have people. And they still have stupid lines, Stuart. If even 5 light years would be fine, you know?
Disappointed, no Lorca. I totally agree with you.
No, let down, no Lorca. Let down.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, beam him over. We want him alive. Bring the honor guard. Yeah.
Which is weird because she didn't need to say that because she murders them. Well, her team does. Why even bother? That seemed odd to me. I know it's trying to tell us she's still on their side, but I don't know. It's weird.
But he's like, "Ooh, you're not so big, bad, and scary in person, are you?" Well, I'll be damned. You got out of your cage. You can't trust this one, Emperor. Yes, you can, when I want you to. And she shoots right through the force field of the brig. Sure. Which I guess in the mirror universe is plausible. You can walk through it.
Yeah,
you want to be able to kill prisoners.
Yeah, it's a one-way force field mirror. That's fine. Although two quick notes on this because it's very abrupt. I love the lack of dialogue. Colbert just bows. Love the body language. Great. And doesn't this guy look like the Guardian of Forever guy? Just like, is it the same actor?
No, it's not the same actor at all.
Because you've had scenes where they have the same actor play, in alternate things.
It's definitely not him. I don't even think they look at all remotely alike. So, but that's because I know who the other actor is, and I've seen him quite a bit in other stuff. So,
well, he's definitely similar. Similar build of. It just feels a similar build to me. Slightly bigger around the face, but because he just feels different enough, they could be the same actor. It would have been a fun reference if it was the same guy. But yeah, abruptly murders him. Makes you realize he's a wasted character, and then you have a fight in the brig, which is not a very impressive set to have a fight in.
Well, then you've got, Commander Nielsen come in, and with Reese, who are both apparently on Burnham's side, even though Captain Killy isn't. I mean, it's interesting to see who's on what side here.
The new allies, yeah.
Yeah. But this whole thing of, I thought you were going to kill me right away. It never ceases to amaze me the depths that we can descend when we must. They're going to sing songs about me, how I saved the Empire.
Which I liked her logic. I liked her monologue here. It was good enough.
Mm-hmm. And then the whole, I never did trust you. Not like I wanted to. And then all of a sudden the doors open and Killy comes in with the Kelpians, which I don't know why Killy would agree to work with Kelpians, first of all. Well, because she, what the hell?
I mean, the way it's implied that they were doing it differently. They wouldn't work with Killy. Saru came out of his quarters, was monitoring the situation, and then was like, "Here's a gun, brother. Come with me." Yeah,
because she's surprised that he's there.
It's not a plan. He's just like, I'm now free. I'm gonna help you.
But it's a bad plan because there is a plan. Because the Emperor says, I never did trust you, not like I wanted to. Perfect cue for Killy to come in. But Killy's like, she doesn't have anybody with her really.
Stuart, let's not give them the respect of saying she had a plan. Her plan was just more people come in and start shooting. Why not beam her out?
Shooting at the right people.
Yeah, I mean, this was a shit little fight.
Washington come in with Killy, of course. So, the two most loyal that were at the table with her. Which is great, yeah.
But it's not a very successful, no one seems smart in this scene. No one seems smart here. It doesn't hold up.
And Saru shooting the blaster like he's a stormtrooper. It even looks like a stormtrooper blaster, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, that's what made me laugh out loud, because it is comical to watch this 7'3" guy not know
how to... Gotta assume he never handled one before.
Yeah.
Slave. So.
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta go to I'll be right back.
But I literally laughed out loud when the Kelpians came in, because it just looks so daft. It really does. But I mean, hey, they use the set effectively. But yeah, it's not a very good battle. It's a letdown. Although I did quite like the murders. They were quite effective, and it was certainly fun to see our leads of the show do stuff. But yeah, it wasn't a particularly effective. And definitely, as hey, welcome off work, Jay. Welcome off work. Killing the Kelpians should be Anton's band. Yes. Log should always be the focus. Here's a captain discovery. Says on my steps. William, love with the Kelpians bust in here. It's funny. Yeah, how you guys doing? Hey, Christian, good use of the emoticons things. Yeah, William, yeah, the guys are let down. Also, we're going to have Lorca and then had to go plan B. Absolutely. Very strange. Very, very strange. Yeah. List of Jericho, I was shocked. Michael Turner shocked. Yeah, I was honestly surprised when she turned on as well. It was more interesting when they worked together because we didn't see that in the other episodes. That was interesting. Yeah. So it definitely it went from being this more intricate story to just a really simple, oh, it's that again. Boom. Like it done. Basically, it's what happened in the Mirror Universe the first time. Lorca's interesting, and now he's just one-dimensional baddie, boring. Who cares? It was a yeah.
You know what really bothered me about this scene though was where they basically tackle each other and fall through the force field. You know how unsafe that is? You got a prisoner in there and you got somebody that's working with them on the outside and they push you into the cell, then you're screwed. It just doesn't make sense. But anyway, whatever. I thought because they're in there, they're both trapped in there now. They can't get out.
Except you can obviously shoot inside. So Washcombe should have just shot her. Or
Exactly.
It honestly it falls apart, Stuart. They had a set that's expensive and they used it, and that's it. It's not very good. And
Saru's pissed, and he's done the Vihara, so he's strong. Whips Kolber up. That was comical, but funny.
Who he already murdered. Like, he's already dead. He's just doing that for revenge, which is quite fun.
Oh, he is dead? I didn't.
Yeah, he shoots him in the stomach. He shoots him in the chest first, so he's already killed him. Like that, and I do quite. I mean, I like the fact they shoot the Arium in the head again. But they cut away at the right second, then cut back, and she's got. So it's a very effective murder all of your cast scene, and I'm sure they had fun with it. And then the stab, the Burnham stab, it's an okay fight. It's not bad. The dialogue's pretty good, but it doesn't quite work in the context of where they're fighting. And the blade is very CGI looking, because obviously it's not a real blade. It works fine, but it does stand out. I mean, this obviously now we're in full lockdown time, you know, when they made these, and you can kind of see a few of those rougher edges. It's like, that was good enough sort of thing. But I was very surprised she stabbed her, and it was very like, oh, we are doing this.
I didn't see the Emperor get stabbed the first time either. At the same time, I didn't know what the hell happened there. I'm like, what's going? Well, and when I watched it the second time, I'm like, oh, okay, there it is. Yeah, not very well done.
No, I'm with you there. It really is one of those things where once you know she's going to die, you're looking for why. But the thing is, if they'd shown her close up, it would have been. But yeah, it was not a very, and it's so anticlimactic. I think they just realized, oh, she's got to die soon. Okay, we'll kill her now. It wasn't.
Although one thing I gotta say here, as a collector of swords and Star Trek merchandise, I want this sword. This is an epic, cool Terran sword. I gotta say.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and Matt Baldwin says the front of the sword slipped all over. The VFX eye twitched. Yeah, it wasn't motion tracked well. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, really? I knew something looked off with it, but I couldn't place it.
Because obviously it's the stunt.
Actually, the one screen frame I'm looking at right now, it's actually misaligned.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, it's a hard thing to do. I mean, you know, it's not like it just takes time. But this is, and I'll say it, and I'll let you jump in a second. I thought this would be the moment where, and then suddenly Lorca beams in, rifle in hand, walks up to Giorgio, who's not dying, he's just been injured, like stabbed in the chest, and he's like, oh, you know, Burnham, Michael. She's like, no, I killed her. And then he just like maybe shoots on her legs or something like that. You need him to beam in this moment. Maybe with the D7D cloaking outside, that would have been epic. Like, that was the epic moment to end for Lorca to come in, say, oh, it all worked then, I guess. Poor Burnham, she died. I didn't really care anyway. And that actually would have been even more poetic, in a really harsh way. Wouldn't it have been kind of poetic, Stuart, if after all this, after all the 3 seasons, evil Lorca, original Lorca comes in and says, oh, Michael's dead? I never really care about her anyway. And so now you go back and retcon season 1 thinking, oh, like he's manipulating her the entire time and no, never loved her. That would have been like, ooh. Ooh.
It would have been great. I'd given up on him at this point. I did not expect that. Like when you said you expected him to come in here, I thought that was interesting.
No, I was hoping.
I didn't think that.
I thought it'd be that
But
final moment
for
of
her,
epic.
for him to come in and her to be like dying and say, "You did come for me." He's like, "No, I came for my throne."
Yep.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah,
just a badass. And then have a monologue. You know, he leans next to Georgia, who's dying. He shoots Saru, shoots Killy, like everyone else he murders straight out. Sits down next to her, leans down and says, "Well, Philippa, it was good to know you, but, you know, I've already got the Andorians on side. You thought you won that. Klingons, oh no, I've got some, you know." Could have been a really fun moment. But it wasn't. This is when the episode kind of like, just like, and back. It's like, oh, what?
I did like the CGI blood though that Burnham spit
wasn't
out.
bad.
That looked very good. Very good.
Like you can tell it's fake instantly, but it's an effective addition to the scene.
Yes.
So that fine balance, absolutely.
Paul Gregor's Awanik puts in 25.
Hold on. Nope, I googled his name, not the money. Sorry. Poland. That was $7 American. Cool.
Well, thank
Poland
you very much.
Zolt,
Appreciate that.
with a Y. Cool. Thank you.
As many Star Trek fans, I had issues with Discovery season 1 and 2, but in retrospective, they are works of art in comparison with third season to this moment. What?
Why? Wow.
I'd love to hear why. Yeah, because we kind of disagree on that one.
That's exactly the opposite for us. I mean, we've reviewed them for dozens of hours, literally and sadly. Please, don't super chat anymore. Just put in the normal chat. Give us some reasons why, because I've not heard that from anybody. Like that love their seasons more. But guys, do you love Trekyards? 267 people. Click like. If you like, click like.
Let's get to 250.
250.
Guys, hit that like button. 250. John Chamness puts in $10.
Thank you.
I'm at the hospital and really scared. Trekyards all morning for me, keeping me distracted. Seriously, thanks, boys. You're doing more good than you realize. Hashtag Chamness fertilizer. Sorry to hear that, and I'm glad we're keeping you. You'd be surprised the messages we get saying that we got people through a hospital stay or a hard time. So we really appreciate that we can do that. We never planned to do that when we started, but thank you for you didn't have to super chat, but thank you so much. That means a lot.
And I can definitely imagine if you've got time, go back and watch our reviews of the Mirror Universe episodes in season 1. See all of our unique opinions and see how we have and haven't like. Because those are time capsules. I've never gone back and rewatched per se, but they would be interesting to. You know, we should even do like a commentary series. Rewatch our own reviews. Review our reviews.
We talked about that. We might do that next year. One of the lives during the week might be that. Who knows?
Because the amount of things.
Also, speaking of time machine or time capsule, go back and look at our Guardian of Forever episode. It's like episode 103 or something.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's young us. It's funny. So type in Trekyards Guardian of Forever. And
is my dad in that one?
Yes, he's the one that sponsored it.
And he's the one that goes into the Guardian.
And there's special effects and a story at the end. Check it out. I watched it last night and I was like, oh God, why?
Really?
It's like, hello, we are not reading from a script. How are you today? It's just it's cringy.
Oh, and I remember this is when when my lights died. So I had to film it when I had one light and I put these really bright so my face is blue. And you're wearing a uniform and I don't know why I'm wearing a white one. Dad's wearing TOS and yeah.
Well, at the end you're like, because there's problems with the timeline and you're like, I have no kit. I don't have my uniform or anything. And your dad's like, I'll step up. And it's like, yeah. So we beam him down and go watch.
And then I did the exact timing beaming from the frame to the. That's clever. Yep.
Anyway, Star Trek Pathfinder, $5. John, hang in there. Get well soon. Thank you very much, Star Trek Pathfinder. And yes, John, hope everything is fine. I don't know what you're at the hospital for, but I hope you are okay. And yes, thank you for watching.
And this episode will have come out on January 16th, 5 years ago.
Ooh.
January 16th,
coming up on the anniversary.
Yep.
That's cool.
No one's commented today or yesterday.
I shared it again last night, kind of subterfugely. Anyway, Jeff Jacobs, $2.01.
Sorry,
Sweet, 200. Let's roll on to 250 and 300. Hashtag make Jeff pay. Yes, we have 260 people with 211 likes. I think we can get up to 230 easily, maybe 250. So hit that like button if you haven't. It's a great way to support the channel and help us out.
And people are talking about Section 31, are they evil or not? No, they're not evil. They're just ends justify the means people.
Yep.
They work for the Federation.
Sometimes seems evil.
Yeah.
Their message gets lost somewhat.
Well, and as you know, I mean, how many government groups exist in our countries that stop terror attacks without us knowing? It's like I've joked before. You know that attack on the Federation president in 2143? Well, no, because it got stopped by Section 31. You're welcome.
Yep.
You never got to hear about it because they stopped it. Like, that's the point.
Yep.
The worst stuff they stop.
Area 51, $5. Saru holding Giorgio. That's called comfort food. Oh, that's harsh. That's a good dad joke. And what is with the fucking floors? I hate these floors.
I like how we have our personal demons to fight, to face in Discovery. I like it, Stuart. Thanks for the... That was good.
What's good? What's good? What?
I like you bring a unique perspective that I would never even looked at. I like it.
How awful the floors are?
Yeah.
I mean, they look like Imperial Star Wars floors, but bad. Star Wars floors are black and shiny and flat and reflect things nicely. Odd scuff here and there. Not whatever the hell this is. Like there's a freaking liquid water. Like,
guys, can we please super chat to quell Stuart's insanity here? As in, he'll be able to pull back from the ledge if you can super chat a few $5. But her last words are basically, "You're welcome, Saru," which, to be fair, is a very undignified thing for an empress to say at the end about a slave race that she let one live, and that's the point. It's a nice thing.
She says, "You passed through." He says, "Yes, I passed through Vahari," and then it blends in with "she passed through." She passed, which is great. It's a nice transition.
Like, I understand the symbology, but like I said, the emperor saying, it's a slave race. It just shows how not evil she is. Although I appreciate the small cutaway to Washington being like, "I failed." Like, that was a nice little moment. Although we obviously now we move on, and then it's quite an abrupt swap back to the other one. You're like, oh, okay, and it's sunny now. It's really sunny here, and not snowing.
Captain Kurt puts in $5. Bring back carpet on starships. Hell yes. And David Bessig, $5. Cap is absolutely right about the floors. Thank you, David.
He came out of the woodwork just for the floor comment.
Apparently, what Michelle Yeoh was saying was when they started filming this scene, it wasn't snowing. By the end of the filming thing, it was snowing, but it works perfectly with what's going on with the Guardian and stuff. So it wasn't planned to snow, but it looked good. And while it was snowing, and the first time I watched it, I'm like, I wonder if that's real snow. Looks like real snow. But it was good to know that little fact. So, yeah.
Yeah, because they don't have breath in some parts of the scene, which implies it's warm, which implies it's either a reshoot, because it's not like when they're against the Guardian. It's like, well, if there's snow, it's cold enough to have breath. There's no breath. They're on a different set. So probably, and that might be a reshoot, because like no breath at all. Whereas other scenes they do have breath.
No, not necessarily, but yeah. I see what you're saying. You can have snow and not see your breath. Just saying.
But on the same day you filmed where it was cold enough, so the temperature went up that much? I don't know. Just seems a bit...
Yep. But anyway, I called this that she just basically went through the Guardian, the door, and passed out. She was out for a minute. We will find out in a second, but very confused what's going on. And I love the guy, Carl's reaction. He's like, she passed through. You got to really, keep up with modern technology. These doors are incredible things.
Yeah, for sure.
And she says, "What day is this?" He's like, "Oh, that's a great question. Well, seems the winds are shifting, because the paper now says Emperor Giorgio's fate uncertain." And the articles are more readable here, but we'll probably talk about that at some other point.
Yes.
And then the whole, "Who are you?"
No.
I'm Carl. We're old friends.
Oh, yeah. And, well, yeah.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. But was it real? Yep, 3 months of data. Although it wasn't her physical body. So, it's a bit weird. Like, it wasn't her that went back in time, but the armband did. But it didn't. Because in the Guardian Forever episode, you went back in time with your clothes. You went forward in time with your clothes. Yet she went back in time without... It doesn't really make sense, but it's not the same thing they did. It's a test universe. It's not actually the real time travel. It's a different concept, you know. But we'll get there in a minute. But it's weird, the framework. I would not have had the thing with the wrist thing. That doesn't really make sense.
It's not supposed to. You're not supposed to understand what happened, because even Michael is like, that's impossible. This makes no sense. She was literally here for a minute.
And I was looking at her like,
yeah,
she didn't leave.
So for her, who's very analytical and figures all these things out, to be confused like that, you're not supposed to understand what happened. That's the point.
Well, the Guardian is magic. I mean, it's a MacGuffin magic device, you know.
Exactly. Star Trek Pathfinder puts in another $5, so thank you.
Thank you.
You Canadians are experts on cold. I'm always warm here in San Antonio, Texas. Yes. Well, I envy you, man. I envy you. Anyway, yeah. No, so yeah, she basically says that's impossible. You were unconscious for less than a minute. And then she even says, if she really went back, then who's been here with us for this past minute? Then he goes on to say, we have so many selves.
Yes.
There's a version of you that's breathing your last breath in the mirror universe. But that version doesn't quite fit anymore, does it?
Which is a weird way of phrasing that.
Yep. But then she does the decompiling thing again, and I thought you were going to cure me. Well, you can't just live in doorways.
That's a good line.
But then, yeah, who are you? And then it's, I am the guardian of forever.
And it's annoying because as soon as he starts saying that in a magical big voice, I'm just like, Q's also talking big words. I'm like, so I was expecting, I am Q. But that's change with about 1 second of him saying that. But yes, then we get the door blows itself apart in a rather cinematic thing, and then goes from wood into stone, and then time tunnel vortex. And then,
which is I think it's a good reimagining of the look, you know.
Stuart, do we have an episode on that coming?
We might. There might be something from Trekyards.
So you're saying I know all of your exact thoughts already?
Yes, you might.
And you
heard them twice. I only heard them once because you got to edit that. So.
And you know I have a really good theory about that, don't you? Because I
absolutely
invented it live in a pre-recorded video.
Yeah. But should we tell it now or just let them watch the video?
I mean, it depends how many you guys super chat, how far we keep going. I will say though, this is a very CGI looking thing, and when they this is not a very real looking shot. I kind of wish they just built a practical set and then put a green screen in the middle of it, kind of like a Stargate. The thing itself looks okay, but how it's integrated, the way they're there, doesn't really work. And in fact, yeah, there's a shadow but no shadow. It doesn't really it's off, you know. But that, you know, works just fine. It's just, you know.
Aeon, $5. Giorgio, recognizing this era is more Terran, does not imply that this future Starfleet isn't on the up and up. It's simply something shady is going on. Yes. What she's just saying, it's more of it's not a stable universe right now because of the burn. There's so much people doing their own thing, surviving how they have to survive. That's what she's getting at, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. It's more a case of this is not a lovely, stable environment. So people.
This isn't the Federation you're used to.
Yeah, they're not a galaxy-spanning wonderful place. It's not as you could take it that way, but they've not given us any hints to that. So you know. But then Stuart, a very abrupt cut back to the present, like the other present. I'm like, oh, but oh, okay.
Which I like. This is where the episode gets good for me after the Guardian of Forever reveal. But...
Whereas I got less interested, because they didn't tell us anything big, and they kind of just throw scenes of characters, and they even got a retcon thing to explain where this character's been. Just really? I don't know. Just I didn't care about these scenes that much, and Adira's okay, Stamp is okay, Jet's the best one in this scene until Book comes in. Just eh.
Before we get too far ahead there, whoa, hold your horses. Go back to the ship.
Okay.
The shuttle bay door is open. Book's ship looks very tiny compared to how it should look.
F up the scale, do they really?
Well, look at it. Look how small it
Oh,
was.
and we know it's the exact size of the shuttle bay. Like, we know it takes up the entire bay.
Pretty much, yes. I just wanted to point that out. Because at first I'm like, is his ship even in there? It looks like something on the left-hand side similar to his ship.
Oh, that's dumb.
Anyway.
No, it's not in there. What?
Isn't it?
No, it really isn't.
Oh, that's the logo.
Yeah. The hell's this ship? Huh.
Well, I don't know where Book's ship is. But anyway.
Good shot, though. Ship looks nice.
Maybe there's no system left to hack. This scene's all right. I mean, seeing Jetback was great. I love the meta joke of, I haven't seen you in literally like forever. Where have you been? Since the dawn of time, he says. And she's like, oh, yeah, realizing my lifelong dream of taking us from plasma to fully polaric warp conduits. Great. Good. You're working on the technology. Fine. That's great. Christian Montgomery, though, $5. Where is Book's ship? He is on board. I would think that it would be an asset like having a freighter or a frigate inside a battlecruiser. CGI flub.
Yeah.
Yes. Close the fucking door and then we wouldn't know that you made a mistake.
No, I mean, they say cloaked, but why would he be cloaked? There's no reason to. You could say that, but A, that's lazy.
Maybe the ship reconfigured down into like something you fit in his pocket because it does reconfigure.
I mean, it is in his wrist, Stuart. That's how that works.
Yeah.
And his cat is either on his wrist or displacement technology. Yeah, this scene is, like I said, it's fine. It's a lot like lots of other scenes, and it's one of the scenes where Stamets doesn't really have a part in the show anymore. He's just sort of Mr. Science Man, but he's not talented in still engineering. Like, he's not the one that solved the problem because he's not an engineer like this. He's a mycelial network specialist, and even Adira here is somewhat underwhelming. And Jet is just there because I guess she's going to be at the end of the season, so they want to reset her up. And as I said to you earlier, I don't buy the excuse of where have you been for weeks. I was doing something cool, which sounds cool, but you understand, computer, locate Jet Reno. Jet Reno is on the engineering deck. Okay, I know where she is. And since they've all had beaming technology on their uniforms for 3 weeks...
That's the joke, though. The actress obviously wasn't able to film, so everybody's wondering where the character is. So the whole I haven't seen you in literally since the dawn of time was just funny. It was just...
It's just...
I know.
I wish all it needs to have been was, yeah, I was on the starbase until yesterday, and then I was called here for some reason. Like, she should have been learning tech back at.
There's a few things I need to address here in the chat.
Okay.
Caleb Horn first says, isn't it cloaked to hide the dilithium? No.
Nope.
That was the thing for one episode, and it wasn't cloaked. It was hiding, it was shielding the dilithium from being scanned. That has since been fixed.
But the ship can cloak, though.
Yes.
And the dilithium would be with Starfleet anyway. They wouldn't keep it on Discovery. They wouldn't both keep unlimited spore drive and all the dilithium. It'd be on Starfleet being in their ships. They just have never mentioned it for some reason.
And Brent C says, are you happy you finally got your warp flyby of Discovery? No, because it wasn't real fucking warp. It was a hyperspace tunnel. It was a JJ warp. It was piece of shit. No. We need a nice star streaking as warp is with a beautiful flyby of the ship.
It wasn't as bad as the season 1 version of Warp. I'll give them that credit. It was a nicer, refined version. And the shot was nice, but yeah, definitely wasn't Warp.
It was like you expect the Vengeance to be behind them, chasing them through this goddamn thing. Is that what it was? Yeah.
I remember that
Sebastian
cinema being just hating my life at the cinema. In those scenes, just hating my life.
Sebastian, aka Space Daddy, puts in €2.
Wow,
just watching Mandalorian, great episode. Yep. Shh, quiet. Don't talk about that right now.
Oh, and John Clamner says Book ship is in the same hidey hole that Voyager put near ship. Well, Voyager did have an internal bay. Like, there is a bay. Mm-hmm. It can't fit that and the other shuttles, so you're still right. But there is an internal bay. Discovery sort of does, but we've looked at the schematics, and it's that room is the entire floor to ceiling of that back. Like, even though it isn't, but it is. It's very strange. And Lawrence says, watch the Romulan War CGI starring the Commander. Yes! Romulan War released a little vignette with me talking about the VFX. It was fun. There was more of me coming. I did like a half-an-hour interview, and I don't remember what I said, so I'm going to keep seeing stuff of me edited that I don't know what I said. But yeah, this scene, like I said, it was just a bit dull, and in comparison to other scenes, it was like, okay, very status quo. Although the book was nice, although a bit too charmingly good old Starfleet. Like he skipped a little bit ahead of his character arc, I think, by about 2 episodes. Although I did like the interchemistry of, here's a solve. I could have done that. I think it was sufficed, then that was like
it's physically impossible for him to say thank you.
Genuinely funny.
And I gotta say, her eating black licorice is perfect because black licorice is awful and only awful people like it. I'm just kidding. A lot of people like it, but the whole this isn't food. This is candy. This is an accessory. And then even Book, was told to study the manual last time because it's in the beginning of this one as last time on.
Yep.
It's like, you can't eat in here. I thought that it was subtle little things like that I really enjoyed.
Well, let's not say subtle, but it was the whole point of the fun. But that was, they were good. They were good for sure. Although I think at this point it does seem a bit weird. They're still deciphering stuff. 4 episodes into getting the signal?
Well, they're trying to they're trying to get a backdoor into the system so they can see what's on the ship. So they've already deciphered the code, the message, but they've been trying this. And I love how he's like, have static and subspace barriers. I found out that you guys don't even know anything about that because you're idiots.
Well, no, because you're from the past.
But
I mean, what do you want? It's just the new tech.
You're using all your juice to try to punch through that. But what us out here in the field have, since there are no amplifiers or no relays, hashtag justice for Sahil, poor bastard, still on a stable relay. But they have to use these enhancers to amplify the signal, which, I mean, it's like an amplifier for your router, for your Wi-Fi, to extend the range, a range extender. It was an interesting little fix. So.
Two comments. One from Core Ross. Bookship has been stored in the voids between the decks. Yeah,
I saw that.
On the roller coasters. But Powell does jump back in as why he thinks season 3 is the worst. And also we've got 2 comments. I don't like the structure of the 3rd season. There is many episodes which are clearly season fillers. Episodes like Unification Part 3 and The Sanctuary don't go anywhere. We could learn about the Burn episode in 3 episodes, but they are stretching the story.
So he likes serialized storytelling and not Star Trek storytelling.
The story is extremely slow, and the crying. I hate the crying discovery you have to earn with the story to cry on screen. I don't think there's been any filler episodes except that was Mandalorian. No filler this week. Every episode has pushed the story forward, given us character moments, and helped us understand the universe because the entire universe was reset. So seeing Vulcan and Romulus come together, that was a major event for us to understand the quadrant. And they didn't just show it, they didn't say it in a dialogue, they showed it. Maybe not at the planet's surface. And then Sanctuary, which one was that one?
That was the one with Book and...
Okay, that was the weakest one, but that also did set up the Emerald Chain.
That's the one we didn't enjoy, yeah.
Yeah, that was the closest to. But also it was to give us a Book episode, to give us, And
that sets up what the Emerald Chain is now going to war, essentially, with the Federation.
Yeah, it introduces the primary villain, which is important. It shows us that Book wants to be this new Starfleet person. That's important. It makes Burnham a secondary character, and she can do that. That's important. It shows us that Vance will give approval to help planets. It's important to show the Federation still being good. So definitely not filler. But I'd rather have a slow story that is well told than I mean, come on, Pavel. I mean, you can't. I mean, your own opinion is absolutely great, but I hope you'll agree that at least season 2 is full of plot holes that are just broken. Michael Burnham's mum shows Spock the red signals, even though she loses the Red Angel suit before she hears about the red signals. So she could never have done that. There are literally plot holes that just break the entire season. So at least the season is pretty damn solid, storytelling-wise. And I'm still intrigued by the mystery. Now, I think this episode is pushing it to the extreme of, really, you're still not going, but it stops here. This is the end of that. I think that's why this episode is lackluster. Like the end's we're still faffing. And also, I don't buy. I know this is the future tech. I don't buy, Stuart, and you tell me if you think I'm wrong here. I just don't buy that they can hack into a Federation ship with long-range sensors from across the quadrant. I know it's future tech, but if they can't even communicate with ships across space in other episodes of Discovery, the galaxy is locked off from communication. How the hell can they hack into a Federation ship thousands of light years away when you've now spored to the Gamma Quadrant pretty much? I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Scan it, maybe. But by that logic, you can scan all the systems that are out of your range. Like, that was a big point of the previous parts of the season. You can't go there. Well, how can they hack in? It seemed bizarre to me.
It does, yeah. Well, I totally agree with that, but...
But back to the Guardian, back to the interesting stuff.
Well, hold on.
Back to engineering.
I love how Stamets says, so that's Emerald Chain technology.
Oh, yeah.
And Book's like, yeah, it's all good. Don't worry. It's one of the benefits of dealing with them. And I was told to make myself useful. I made myself useful. I thought it was good. But at least Stamets shows concern that they're using enemy tech aboard the ship. And so I thought that was, well, because that becomes important in a minute. So
Thing is, it was still a well-written scene. It just could have had a bit more punch. Yeah. And I care about more mirror stuff, so I was just, yeah. But yes, the scene was still well-written.
So then we get the whole, what's the Guardian of Forever, and why haven't we heard of you?
Here's the explanation, Stuart.
I'm a space-time portal, you might say. Back in the day, it used to be, sure, come on through. Just don't screw up history or you'll have to fix it. And then the temporal wars happened, and everyone was killing everyone else and trying to use me to do it. It wasn't pretty, but here I am, officially elsewhere, nowhere near my original coordinates.
Yeah, no shit.
So that was nice that they explained that somewhat.
And what do you think?
I thought it was great. I just need an explanation of how it moved. I mean, if there's planets that are networked together somehow because there's people that built it. But I would like an explanation how it moved. But other than that, I thought it was well done, well handled. Because they did say they're on the edge of the Gamma Quadrant, which is obviously not where the Guardian of Forever was. So in the lead up to this, people were saying the Guardian of Forever. And I was saying probably a Guardian of Forever, not the Guardian of Forever. Well, there's more than one. I said probably because it's in a different part of the galaxy. So I was wrong in that regard. I don't mind admitting when I was wrong, because it is the Guardian. But I don't know. It was, one thing I hated though was Burnham's line here. Only an intelligence with over 100,000 years of history and access to current Federation databases could possibly extrapolate your location. And he says, I like that. This is a little bit off the cuff. This is how we got you the information where you were.
I mean, that also implies that you've moved many times and there's a pattern, and therefore knowing 100,000 years can catch a pattern, because knowing past information wouldn't help. Even if it like went past you in the Sphere Data's lifetime to know scans of what a Guardian scan's like, guess what? So did Starfleet. They have the exact same scans. So if you need data from the past, okay, you're back.
Unless the sphere data passed a planet with the same isometric radio signatures that also emanated from the Guardian of Forever during the temporal waves it sent out. So it extrapolated that if it's not there anymore, because it's not, it could possibly be here, because that's the only other place where the signals matched up. But, something like that I would buy.
But then if it's that understandable as this is the only other planet it can go to, the Federation would know where it was, because we obviously spanned the galaxy.
They haven't scanned that planet. Unless they haven't scanned that. They haven't scanned every goddamn planet. Well, they did say it's on the edge.
But you would think if they were like, the temporal war has caused deaths of millions, we need to find the Guardian forever, let's scan the quadrant. Since we can temporally transport anywhere, I think we can... If we can scan all of time, Stuart, why can't we scan the entire galaxy on relativity? You know? We can scan the timeline. That's more information than the galaxy of planets, especially if you know has to be class F. I mean, whatever. That's, you know. The thing about this Guardian, though, is I liked it, fair enough, but they invented a ton of canon to make it work, right? They retconned a lot of stuff. It never had a sentient AI vibe in the same way. Like, originally, and it was more of a TOS trope, it felt slightly more like an artificial AI inside a piece of tech.
But Kirk asked it, are you a machine or are you sentient? I'm neither and I am both. That was the answer.
So I took it as sentient computer in some tech. This version is far more obviously organic, far more interactive. That's retcon, big old retcon.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, and then obviously it was never, I mean, again, this was the 60s and then the 70s with the animated series. It can now move across the galaxy. Somehow it can also go invisible or teleport. Like, they add everything they need to it, And it can also create alternate universes that don't involve physically traveling through time.
But it's hiding now, though. It wasn't hiding before. It was just sitting there waiting.
But I'm saying they have to retcon in every single thing it does.
Yeah, they do.
To make it work. But I don't think they're necessarily breaking, like, they're not, none of them are mutually exclusive to ruin it. It's just they have to invent everything.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with the sphere data, because also it was accessing civilizations worth of databases and stuff as it went on its journey. So maybe it ran into a race that knew about the people that built it, or ran into the race that specifically built it and had their data. So I would buy that, and that's another way I could locate it, because there's something within that information.
I mean, it was an extrapolation based on billions of terabytes of information. Who the hell knows what? Exactly. It was everything put together. I mean, it could even be something simple as, time waves that detected on a micron system, blah, 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 blah. I would have... So, okay, the big retcon for me is its appearance and vibe. And I would like to think that, like you'd said in TOS, it was lonely, it was engaging with life forms, and it was kind of just a lost bit of tech on a planet that's destroyed, basically. Like, the civilization's gone. This Guardian is a long time after. Now, yes, as you said earlier, in the context of the length of the lifespan of the Guardian, it's not a long time. But there was never a temporal war, in which case this was the secret weapon in between. So this Guardian, presumably after TOS, and the way they imply it, I don't know if that's just me, Stuart, but the way they say, I was just getting used to do general time travel, said to me, oh yeah, the Federation used me to look at time for a while. They were really careful. Like,
yeah.
It was something that happened a few times. It wasn't like
I don't think it's just the Federation, though. I think it stumbled. Sure. A few people maybe stumbled across it.
But it wasn't like, oh yeah, I saw the Federation once and then I was suddenly found by the temporal people. But if you've been used to be a weapon and suddenly dealing with people, I can imagine the AI in the machine of the Guardian, not evolved, but worked out a new way of communicating. Because it got, I mean, I could even see, honestly, someone saying to the Guardian, saying, Guardian, could you just talk plainly for once? Well, I'm sorry, let me try something. And then suddenly Carl appears. Is this easier? Is this easier? Oh yeah, why didn't you build a construct before? If you can travel through time, and if you can send anyone through time and space, it's not unreasonable to say you've got a holographic generator in your mechanicalness. That's not ridiculous. So he's a hologram, even a hard light hologram like Red Dwarf, that's not a huge deal.
And the thing is, the planet it was on originally was obviously destroyed, because there's broken buildings and pillars around it. So it could be that the planet was used up planet, essentially. The one it moved to now, like I said, is either a bigger planet, more molten core, more access to the energy it needs to work, so it has access to more of its features. I would buy that as well. It just has a better power supply here, or whatever.
I just like the idea that it kind of evolved in the time where it had to adapt to being utilized as a weapon, to dealing with species, to being chatted to being... Because I'm sure it wanted to help originally. Because imagine if it was helping the Federation for like 500 years and then it went all bad. I can see there being a nice balance of, it learned to be a construct, it learned to talk to people, it learned to have a sort of personality, whatever. And just because Burnham doesn't know about it doesn't mean the Federation doesn't, because she hasn't learned everything about everything. That's absolutely fine.
Powell answered again. He says, sorry for the slow response. I'm a disabled guy and slow typing. I respect your opinions. That's why I watched Trekyards since 2016.
Crazy,
Thank you very much. Nevertheless, this season is, for me, awful. Yeah, that's fine. Not everybody can agree.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. I can see why this isn't the best, but this certainly fixes for me things in the other two seasons, because I'm more of a plot hole guy. Like, if it has plot holes, because you can write those out, and just better scripting. But yeah, too slow, I can see. Now, I will say, Stuart, if the payoff is bad, then it'll make the slow setup even worse, Because then it'll be like, oh, was that it? Kind of that's what happened with The Guardian a little bit on that line. So we'll see. It might be an epic payoff, and therefore it kind of improves everything.
Yeah. BJ Charon, $5. Glass. Miss Yo got good send-off from Disco. But not thrilled with Section 31 show. Rather, she being a recurring character in Strange New Worlds. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out.
They don't know yet. They don't know anything else.
Yeah. Aeon, $5. Got a little sad for the Guardian. It seemed Carl implied that his power was abused for the Temporal War. Good review, guys. Absolutely, that's what it implies. And Star Trek Pathfinder, $5. Burnham is going to be the cause of the burn. Burn Burnham. Okay, I won't quit my day job. Everybody and their uncle has said that since the burn was announced. It's Burnham, obviously.
I still haven't. I've never argued that once.
I can see them doing it. That's the problem. I can see Discovery writers going, "Oh, that's clever. Oh, he'll call the burn." But yeah, I hope they don't do that.
But the only thing I had a problem with directly with the Guardian is that how could he transport across the galaxy? Because having FTL is different to having time travel technology. They aren't the same tech, you know. I mean, yes,
It's
mate.
not FTL. It's not FTL. It's just instantaneous boop to another planet that's linked to it.
I mean, you don't know that. That's you having a good idea. Like, there's no reason to say that except that would be kind of cool. You know, like that's but they didn't say that. You know, that's an idea. And it is also weird that it can just vanish. I'm assuming just become invisible, but you know, although we did talk earlier about
just be a holographic screen to hide it.
Yeah, yeah, or just putting in their brains, you know, just psychically saying, you know. But the fact is, if it can become a door, then it's very possible that its shell is just a shell. You know, the Guardian is the life form. The shell is like that's its default shape.
Well, like you described it earlier, and I said, hermit crab.
Yes. Yep. Which would be why, as it moved planets, it created a new shell, which is actually.
And if it's just energy, it can travel infinitely. Yes.
Yeah, watch that video, guys. I eureka'd a moment because this Guardian is very close to the original. It has a shape, but actually now it's stone instead of sort of plasticky, lifey metal or lifey. It's actually less interesting looking than the original, which is weird. TOS beats the new one, but it's very similar to the animated series one. Really similar. So have a look. But yes, what do they say then? Because at least they explain it. At least they give a good explanation. And I like the guy's acting. He genuinely sells. This sucked. I didn't like being a weapon. It's like I liked his remorse. It was nice, but it had the wisdom of I've been alive so bloody long, and yet I was made to do this, this, and this. I think he sells it really well.
Yeah. Well, Giorgio asked why she's still dying, and he says, "You weren't sent back to be cured. You were sent back to be weighted, tested to see if you'd make different choices." She's like, "Why didn't you just tell me?" And this is where his cryptic remark in the first one comes in. Give you the answer before the test? Because in the other one he says to give the answer before the question is dangerous. So that's great. He says, "You're a tricky case, Philippa. Yeah. You don't belong here now, but to send you somewhere else might cause just as many problems. So you had to be weighed to figure out your course."
And quick comment, Liam Neon says, "But if the Guardian has the power for you to walk through a door and appear on another planet another time, then surely they can move the door itself using the same method. Just as a washing machine can dry clothes, and you can also turn a button to dry the washing machine. Because the
washing machines don't dry clothes, though. Dryers do."
Sorry. Well, yeah, you're right. Well, actually, no. My washing machine does both. Actually, thanks very much. But you're right. Yeah, a washing machine could definitely wash the outside of the machine itself, can't it? Because it can wash clothes, so of course it can wash itself. No, it can't.
But we know there's a Guardian of Fairway that a starship can fly through. I saw a thing once
in a fan film. But you know what I mean? Like, that's the same. It's not a good argument because not all tech can do a thing to itself that it can do to the thing. That's not how that works. It's extrapolation.
Like printing a 3D printer with a 3D printer. You can't really do that.
Well, no, you can't print a 3D printer with itself. Because you could print a 3D printer with a 3D printer, but you couldn't.
No, you can't. You can't print all the electronics and everything. You can print the shell.
Okay. You mean like the
you can print the parts.
Yeah.
But you can't print it all and put it together and have the electronics and everything work. Yeah. So no.
But I think my washing machine's simpler. Like it can't wash its outside. Why would it be able to? But it can wash clothes. So, yeah, but it's not the same thing.
Star Trek Pathfinder, $5.
God, super generous, mate. Come on. Oof.
I think if Carl had been written as a Q, it would have come off a bit better. Yes, but then the Q's a freaking MacGuffin that ties everything together. Like, no, I kind of like that they went with the Guardian idea, honestly.
I mean, it's a bit more internally consistent, although they give it way too many powers to be. it would have been more fun. I would have understood if like maybe a Q had been as a punishment has to be the guardian of the Guardian forever. And then he was moving it. I could have seen that as a little.
Or the Q before they got non-corporeal built the Guardian of Forever as a way to use their powers, and they actually made it into like a machine, and then they got to a point where they didn't need the machine. They could just they're non-corporeal now. They can do it themselves. That'd be interesting, but
I think it was fine. It was fun. It was, you know, and it was the first time we've seen it in like 50 years. Because you always think
watch your episode on it, guys.
Yeah, because you always think about it as an iconic piece of history, but it was only in TOS once and TAS once, and never again, ever, in any medium, ever, as in like shows or you know.
Kind of fucks up our story though that we were working on, but that's okay. Actually, that'll still work. It'll still work.
It's just in the future, you know, just future Guardian. Although it does now create a time travel portal that's sentient that you can convince that's less than a minute away if you spore and then beam down. But yes, he weighs Giorgio, and I appreciate the clarification. My journey would never have saved you, because we were saying how on earth could a Guardian do this, and the answer is it couldn't. It's a two-pronged plan. One is to see if she's okay to be saved. The other one is to save her. So I appreciate that we were right in that respect.
Mm-hmm. But she says I must have failed because I still ended up killing my daughter and whatever. And he's like, hey, why would you say that? You know, you tried for peace. You helped the Kelpian out who will go on to save many others. Again, implied Kelpians. But you did try. You only killed.
It's important.
You only killed your daughter because your hands were tied. You know, like you had no other choice. So they're like, well, so will you help her? And he does his little. This is cool. The little sphere that he does to activate the thing. I thought that was kind of neat.
I mean, it's very un-Guardian Forever, but this is also the more advanced Guardian Forever. Like I still honestly I would have preferred just the cloud effect, because the other one's a bit showy. I understand it would look like a Stargate if it was just anything simpler, but it was too much. Like it's like there's a difference between like it's clearly we're visually retconning it as opposed to like just trying to do the Guardian Forever. But that's Discovery's whole mantra. So it's kind of like this is how we would do it rather than this is how the Guardian worked. But it's still one big canon, so it's kind of
yeah.
Classic then.
Anyway, Giorgio says, I won't return to Terra. I won't return to that universe. He's like, no one said anything about that. No one said anything about sending you back there. I'm going to send you back to a time when your mirror universe and prime universe were still aligned so that you won't fall apart, atomically speaking. You know, consider yourself lucky you're getting a second chance, which is pretty unique, but it won't be easy. And this is where I think it's leading into the Section 31 thing. It says, the paper says the forecast will be bumpy and painful. Lots of rainstorms and heartaches, but that's life. Or so I'm told. And then, can Michael come with me? Nope, she's exactly this Michael Burnham. He says this. He says this Michael Burnham is exactly where she needs to be. Implying that he's tracked other Michael Burnhams, maybe. Or talking about the one that she just killed. Whatever.
Although I don't like that the Guardian knows the future, because that, you know, if you know the future, then
he doesn't know the future.
Yeah.
He just says she's right where she needs to be.
But you'd have to know who she is, why she is. Like, it's not an omnipotent being. It's a portal that knows. But the thing is, TOS, it was also everything and nothing. So it's, you know, it's good. It's vague. You know, it's good. It's weird and all over the place, because that's what it always was. You know, it's an unknown. You can't explain it too much, and they don't. They just make it disappear to save on CGI costs. But yeah, they're gonna send her back to an unknown time, an unknown place, because we may not have worked out exactly where in our spin-off series yet, that we don't know if we're going to get major because it hasn't been assigned a budget yet. We haven't started filming yet, so we're not going to commit to anything. We're just going to say she is back in the past somewhere. Tune in for Section 31 at some point. And that's okay.
Yeah. This goodbye is nice, though. The whole, this is uncharted territory. This is very much like the Terran universe now. Saru's done a fine job, but he's not the only one that's qualified to be captain. And then the whole, I wish I would have learned this about you long ago. It's like, why? Anyway. Then she says something odd. I had a chance once long ago. He was called San. I wish I told you about him. And she's like, well, tell the people you're about to meet now about him. So, and the way she says it with her accent, it sounds like son. And then I wish I told him about you about him. It's like people are confused thinking it's their freaking son, which it might be. I don't know. But they need to pick a different name.
Stuart, what a satisfying payoff to this sad storyline that we got. Right?
It's going to carry over to section 31. You know it will. Somehow. It's been filmed. They filmed the scenes. You saw the young Michael, or the young Philippa.
It was so lackluster, and what a shitty little reveal. Like, it was a no one cares moment. This character we don't know died. We don't care about. Why even bother having that in it? You're right. It'll be in the Section 31 show, but it was the worst like payoff to a non-moment. Like we were both saying, it'll be in the Mirror Universe storyline. And you completely forget about it because it's so unimportant. Then you get to the moment like, oh yeah, we completely ignored that. Huh. That's weird. It's very strange. It's very, very strange. Like they wrote themselves into a corner and decided not to do anything with it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Real weird because it meant nothing. It meant absolutely nothing. But you know, considering how unlikable she's been, the fact that she feels so different in these scenes is actually earned though, because the way they play everything all together, she's changed now. You know, that 3 months, that whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I still think she may be somewhat evil still, in the sense that she had to be evil for 3 more months, even if she was more moderate evil. She had to be evil still. But it does actually work, and it's a nice send-off. You know she's going to come back, so it kind of neuters it a bit. But it is still a nice, well-written sequence. I like the Guardian CGI. It's nice. It's effective. Yeah?
And she says, I'll never find another one like you, and the whole, I'll never find another one like you, and you are you. You are
yes.
Unique. You're not like the other Giorgio. Like,
yeah, I loved you for you. It wasn't about her at a certain point. Well, I think any Giorgio would have worked. Just like I liked having a Giorgio. But no, it's actually quite a nice.
Stephen W. Fathry, $5. Merry Christmas, gentlemen.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
We are doing a live covering this episode on the Text Trek channel in 2 hours with Starfleet Boy. We'll say hi to Starfleet Boy for us. He's a good guy. I like him. So, like you too, Steve, but yes. So check it out. Text Trek channel, guys. Sebastian, a.k.a. Space Daddy, puts in €5. What an ending to The Mandalorian. Let's hope this is half as good. Yeah, he hasn't seen it yet. I have to come back. Don't put it in the chat. Don't mention it.
Just, okay, I'm not gonna look at the chat again.
Not you. They're not gonna put anything in the chat because I will hide the comment or their ability to comment as they do, because that's bullshit. Captain Kurt puts in $5. Guardian gave no warnings about sharing future info. So will Section 31 know about the burn? Well, who cares? If they send her back to where she's probably going to be, which is 900 years in the past, who gives a shit? Nothing they can do about it anyway. The thing that bothers me is she might have future tech on her, because she put a phaser, attached it to her arm in the last episode. She's walking through with future tech plus her wristband thing.
Yep, never took that off. And I think
don't know.
And I think Burnham's communicator's underneath her cold. Oh, okay, no, it's over. Okay, but she could have a comm badge underneath. I don't know why she would necessarily, but I mean, I've got to assume the Guardian turned it all off, because if it's replicable matter, it doesn't exist as a corporeal thing. So I can easily say, I mean, he's way more advanced in this tech, but there is definitely a disconnect. But they don't know where they're going yet. So, you know, because even if they had an idea, a pitch to the Giorgio character, to the Michelle Yeoh, that could change. Have you seen Discovery Season 1? So they were not going to commit to any particular outlook of where they're going. But yeah, it is weird. Sending a reformed space Hitler who knows the future into the past is dangerous in every respect. But we'll see. I mean,
well, she's not Space Hitler anymore. That's the point.
That's why I said reformed. But she still can't be a nice woman, because that is like, well, she still had to live in the universe 3 months. That didn't change. And just because she killed her own daughter doesn't mean she's now a nice person. Like, no magic happened, you know? She's still herself. She was never genetically fixed by the people in the future, so she's still got Terran DNA, who are genetically imprinted to be a bit more mean. And if they take away her sass, she's just going to be the first Giorgio again for the first 2 episodes. So, you know, she has to be sassy, otherwise there's no character there. But then it's not...
Samuel.
Oh. Oh, yes. Which I thought was actually kind of sweet. I never considered that as a concept, but yeah, that is their personal salutes for goodbye. I thought that was actually quite sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Actually. Although I was waiting for them to then swap and do the opposite each as like a sign
I was too, yeah.
But that's okay. I like the fact they just start snowing again. It hasn't snowed for the entire sequence, now it's snowing again. It's like, okay, fair enough.
But back to Discovery.
Oh yeah, there we go, done.
They have established a link to the Kelpian ship, Admiral. Data is starting to flow in.
Data? I thought he was dead.
Admiral's like, I'm glad to hear that. Kind of reams them out a little bit about using chain technology on a Starfleet ship.
But nice and restrained. More just like...
But he does. His wording's great. But using chain technology on a Starfleet ship is a stretch, even by the lax standards of you and Commander Burnham that you adhere to.
100%, which is nice. And it's good when they tell us that even people in the universe know the crew is a bit... Which is good, you know?
Mm-hmm. So then he goes on to say, did it occur to you guys that using this tech might be dangerous or could compromise Discovery systems? Book's like, no, it's safe. I made sure of that before I installed it on my own ship 2 years ago. Yeah, but your ship is a new ship, relatively speaking, compared to Discovery. Hooking your tech up to an older ship, I think this is going to be a backdoor for Osira and the chain to get into Discovery systems. I think they're setting that up for one of the final episodes to shut down Discovery or something. But
so yes and no. As I said in another review, I doubt there's like secret code in a phaser emitter in a replicator. Like they wouldn't put codes in every bit of tech. This is not an important piece of tech. It's just a standard piece of tech. And besides, Discovery is now new again. It's been fully refitted just because the interior hasn't changed. The computer cores, like everything about it, is now different on the inside. So it's now actually brand new tech, probably newer than, more advanced than Bookship. So it can definitely take it. But I don't think so much they're going to get tracked. I think, as in deliberately, I think it's more a case of the Emerald Chain has their own network to scan for people using their subspace technology, and so they're going to be able to backwards track someone who's using it. So I agree they're going to trace it, but not like as a side thought almost. Yeah.
I still think it's a MacGuffin to take over Discovery at some point in the future. So.
Yeah, it's the reason they get tracked down at the end of the episode or the end of the season, and the Emerald Train fleet warps in, just for a slightly different reason. But yeah.
Yeah.
And not to be annoying, but wouldn't it have been great if we didn't have holograms in Discovery until this season? We'd think it was so cool that Vance was communicating across the entire quadrant in real time via hologram. How cool would that have been? You know? Although, if he can real-time hologram across the quadrant, why isn't he real-time hologramming to all of the planets he can't scan? I'm sure they have more power than Discovery to communicate with. Doesn't really make sense. Again.
Yeah. Well, he says Osira is desperate for dilithium, and Discovery has a spore drive. Not a good combination.
Duh.
But yeah, be very careful at all times. If you would, and he says the book, if you would like to remain on Discovery, you're going to need to follow certain Starfleet protocols, which I thought great. They're going to kind of give him get him into Starfleet somehow. But I love his response. He's like, actually, with all due respect, your enemy has no protocols, so having someone who's not a part of Starfleet could be a good thing. And the Admiral's like, fuck, you're right. Just with his look, which is great. I mean, it's something you never would think about, but well done.
Just like in the universe, they called the guy a mercenary. He's in essence a mercenary, but he's one of those kinds that actually respects people and means well. So it's unlike Mudd, who might be able to get the job done, but he will break rules. This guy you can trust more to actually do it in the right way. So yeah, it was a good balance, for sure. Although it also shows how much Discovery is rubbing off on Vance, because boy, let's go against procedure. But yeah, I'm sure they hire contractors anyway. But then you get the private conversation again between the two, and basically he calls them out saying, I know you've known about this information for a while, and you should have told me, and you didn't, on purpose, Was it because the Kelpians were there and you miss Kelpians? And if it was, hey,
You were distracted, yeah.
just let me know, and you'll give your opinion in a second. I think Saru let himself down a bit by not just saying, "You are right, sir," but that's not the point. I'm still doing my job. I was blindsided, but the fact that he says, "No, no, no, nothing to do with that," I lost respect a bit for Saru because he's a better captain than that. He's blatantly not, like, just the guy was being so positive and kind about saying, "Hey, admit to it. I get it." The fact that he didn't want to admit to it, I don't quite like. Shows he's going to break the rules next week, just spawn there without permission, etc., etc. But what was your take on this thing? I know we think differently on this.
I think he was literally doing what he thought was the right thing, to not burden the admiral with too much information because they got to deal with the Emerald Chain. I don't think the fact that it's a Kelpian played into his decision, at least not consciously, subconsciously maybe. But I think he's trying to convince himself that that's not why he said to not notify Admiral Vance. Sure, he goes and plays the message again, and yeah, it's another Kelpian. Whoop-de-doo. I don't know. I don't think it has.
So what you're saying is, I think he consciously is making a choice to override his own regulations a bit, and you think it's all subconscious, and so he.
But for what purpose, though? What purpose does it serve to not tell Vance about it? You're still going to be the one sent there. You're still going to be the one that has to deal with the situation. So what purpose did it serve to hide the fact that it's a Kelpian, or not relay that information to Admiral Vance?
Because if
you think Admiral Vance is going to say, because you're a Kelpian, you might be compromised, you're not going to go?
No, I would think it was more a case of, just like with lots of other things, they've got away with some really against regulation stuff. And if there was a time crunch and the Kelpians needed help in 1 minute, and Vance wouldn't give him permission, he'd go anyway. And so best not tell him, so that I can go if I need to anyway. So he's giving his he didn't know what the situation was. He wanted to give himself the freedom to go and not get in trouble, like pre-trouble. I just this thing was a bit weird. But I think both points of view are valid in this. It's just depending how good Saru is or isn't as a captain. But Vance was good though either way. Like he had a good, he was a very knowledgeable commander. He understood why he was doing it, and that's a strong thing for a commander to do.
Yeah. But yeah, before Book leaves, it's like Burnham's beaming up by herself. He's like, "You're excused." And before he finishes saying you're excused, Book's already like, "I'm out of here." So it was kind of like, it showed a little bit of he's not Starfleet clearly still. Anyway, yeah. Then Burnham comes in. Book gives her a big hug, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then we get the whole conversation between Saru and her as she's like, "Is she deceased?" Burnham says, "She will not return. Never." And he's like, "Then she is deceased." And then we get the nice toast to Philippa.
I appreciate that scene was short with Saru and her, and that she didn't actually tell him. It's one of those things where he knows she's not dead, but if he knows, it may go elsewhere. Like, the buck needs to stop with her and no further. And so everyone knows she's dead. That is everybody. Because the best way to keep a secret is not to tell people. And if you really, she's now a time fugitive. Unless she's dead. And since they no longer have time travel to check if she's in the past, at least this version of time travel, she's fine. The 29th century people may work out she's in the past, because they're going to be tracking. But, yeah. And then, you got a long old toast.
Rizon Gaming, though, throws in $10.
Oh, thank you.
Great job with Trekyards, as usual. Yeah. Enjoying the exploratory nature of Season 3. Question is, did they really have Warp 9 in 2266, as the mirror ship shows? Well, it's a mirror ship, so they've taken over different races and stuff. They might have better tech than the Prime Universe.
Well, just remember, they had Connie Warp 100 years earlier, in an X era.
Yeah,
so they had 100 years to develop the Defiant tech. So yes, and it's not Warp 9, it's their scale Warp 9. You cannot say it's TNG Warp 9 because they don't. That's not a thing.
Or even yet. Prime TOS warp scale either. It could be different.
It could be an X scale still. It could be, but yeah, that's fine. Their Warp 9 is absolutely fine.
Yeah. Wild Driver C to £5. Are you guys getting the new Hero Collections Enterprise D? Is that big together one?
No.
Probably not.
No, it's it looks too bitty. There's too many seam lines. Like it just looks like a Lego. Like the one we saw in Vegas looked beautiful, like all beautiful one piece. That's how I would get it if I was gonna get one. Like that's the ship rather than this is a combination piece thing.
That one's a lot smaller though than the one that they're offering.
But that's good though. Nice and neat.
Yeah.
Still big though. But yes, I know what you mean.
Jeffrey Jacobs, 250. Keep it rolling on to 300. Hashtag blue to do. Hashtag make Jeff pay.
And people are making a great comment about, they can just check up, they can just Google Giorgio's name. Because she'll be in the past. But
if she's part of Section 31, it might all be redacted and hidden.
I mean, that's true. Discovery was fully redacted.
Yep.
So you can do
Successfully so, yes.
Fully successfully. So all she has to do is make sure her name is redacted at her death. That could be her final instruction.
Yep.
Seriously, that's it. There we go. Solved. Easy.
Rise On Gaming, $5. And also, is there a mirror Q? And what would he think? You've come too far already.
Oh.
See, it could be that the Q can see all those different realities, and they're not segmented to have a Q, mirror universe Q. Because they're omnipotent.
I would assume the Q are the Q for all realities, personally.
Yes.
And because I would assume Delancey is doing 50 things at the same time. Like, he's not just with Picard or just in Janeway's bath, He's an entity of supreme power. So, and besides, more universes mean, because they're, if they're living in eternity, more universes means more people to play with. So I would not have unlimited mirror. They're above that,
But yeah, some good toasts here. She was very blunt to the point. I really like all of the, they're basically doing it for Michael. They're not necessarily doing it for her because they don't really know her. They're taking care of the one that's suffering the aftermath of it. So I think it's great.
Yeah, but it's a meta scene. It's really the actors saying goodbye to an actress they've really enjoyed working with for 3 years.
Yeah.
And even if you think about it, she was only in 4 episodes of season 1 as Mira Giorgio, and she didn't meet any of them until the end. And then she was only in half of season 2 because she was off doing something else. And in season 3, who the hell knows she was hanging out with? So none of them really know her. Why would they? And she's not going to make friends. So I assume they all dislike her. In the few interactions she's had with them, they may have met her a few dozen times, especially Jet. Like, Jet barely knows her, but they've all got a memory where they don't like her, but they're turning it into, she was quirky. So, yeah, okay, it's for Burnham. It's just, you always talk better of the dead at a funeral because you want to remember the good times. But it's not, it's for the cast, and it would feel weird if you didn't have this. But to be fair, it isn't them gushing over her, and most of the say is poignant. So I'm okay with it. It's like, yeah, it's fine, and it's better than having an Arium style funeral where Saru sings. This is a more appropriate low key drink, more appropriate, I think. So I'm fine with it.
And Eric says, "Why is there always a sun? Because you need that dramatic lighting."
Because the director was like, we're mirror universing. Oh wait, this is not mirror universe anymore because they use that light. But you're right, it is weird.
Ooh, Hezraz makes a good point. Just realized, where the hell is Linus? He was her friend.
And lover.
She probably ate him before she went down because it was her last meal because she knew she was dying. So he's probably dead. They're going to find like half of his corpse in his quarters.
Oh.
That'd be fucking hilarious.
I like to think they dated for a bit. She put out some frustration. Yeah, but you're right. Linus would have made more sense because they actually had like a scene together or two. But there you go. It abruptly cuts into a very confusing next time on, which we'll talk about next
on Wednesday.
Week. Yes.
Well, I'm going to give my review of this thing, and then, guys, super chat your scores. Any super chat scores I will read. Any non-super chat scores, put them in the regular chat. Samuel will get to those. But
$50, guys. I'm going to say it. So 10 fives. 10 of you put $5 for your scores. 250 people, that should be easy. 300 likes if you can. We'll see. But yeah, $50. I want to see a full load. I want to see all 250 people put a score in. So I would love to know where we are here, because I think I have no idea what score I'm going to give. I don't know if you've actually considered it until this point. I don't know what you guys are going to give. I'm really intrigued, actually.
Yeah. Like I said, this episode was all right for me. It
And have
definitely
you
got
changed
better.
your opinion at all during our discussions today? Because I have a little bit from what you've said.
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
It got good for me once we found out the Guardian of Forever, and we got that intro. That was great. The whole testing, we called the testing. We called the literally. She walked through the door and passed out.
And let me throw in one brief thing that my dad said, because I'm sure he'd want me to mention it. He disliked the Guardian because he felt it was disrespected from not being used for 50 years and yet only a throwaway thing, a MacGuffin to do a plot thing. Oh, did you lose me there?
All I heard was he thought it was disrespect.
Yeah, okay, so your dad thought it was disrespectful because it was one of the most important things in Star Trek lore from the most popular TOS episode ever, and it was a throwaway MacGuffin that only got the character from A to B, didn't have enough time in the story, was fine design, but needed at least double as much discussion time to explain how it got there, why it got there, and give it time. That was his instant reaction as a first run English watch Star Trek. Can you understand those points that just was semi disrespected and underused and should have been done more, etc., etc.?
I kind of agree a little, 1,000%, because it's showing respect and love for something that's beloved within Star Trek. They're trying to incorporate it into their story and make it something important. But yeah, I can see why some people think that's disrespectful. I disagree. It almost is like they're using it as a crutch, though. Like, hey, look, the most popular episode of Star Trek, which could be any sci-fi franchise. Well, that pisses me off to no end. Same with Interlight. It doesn't have to be Star Trek to be a good story. Those are good stories on their own. Take the Star Trek out of it.
Same
it's still
Calypso.
A fantastic piece of
Calypso, same thing. Exactly the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like Doomsday Machine is probably a better Star Trek episode than Synergy of Forever, because it's like, and same Enterprise Incident, because they are using all of the Trek universe in it. Although I will just say briefly, I think it was a perfect use for the Guardian, because they have to send her back in time. And it's like that. It was either that or a slingshot maneuver. Both are very easy, organic ways of doing it that don't break canon, they don't ruin canon. They just pull something and use it. It's more about how and why it got there.
Before I do my final thing, Joshua 11345 puts in $5. When they banned time travel, do you think they informed the 29th century time travelers to avoid the future? Yeah, that's the thing with banning time travel. It's kind of stupid when you think about it, but whatever.
I think it's more just banning the use of it in the present.
So if you're aware that you're using it, you're breaking the law. If you're coming from a time or a place where you don't know about it, like Discovery, sure, you're breaking the law, but we'll allow it. Just don't do it again.
I think one of the rules is just don't go into the future. How many events go into the future? You never do that, really. Why don't TOS ever slingshot into the future? Well, because it's not the way you do it, or it's always a thing from the past going to the present, but it never goes into the future. You're not meant to. So I think that's one of the unwritten rules of time travel. It's like, we don't go to tomorrow, but we can go to yesterday, and therefore things that happen tomorrow, it's weird. But yeah, the time cops still exist, etc., etc.
Do they though?
Yeah.
Anyway, the episode got good when they got back to reality. The Admiral Vance stuff was on point. You mentioned you saw something sinister. I didn't. He's just very much out of the loop, kind of, and trying to babysit this crew from a distance, which have somebody on board the goddamn ship. It's pretty simple. We talked about that as well. So that stuff, I didn't mind the toasting. I thought it was fine. So I really enjoyed the Guardian of Forever reveal. I thought that was great. Reimagined beautifully and very respectful to the original, in my opinion, as far as looks go. Anyway, I can see why people might think that it's just a MacGuffin to get them through an episode of Discovery. But
and also,
as for the mirror,
Christopher says the Enterprise C did go to the future. No, went to a parallel universe.
Yes, and the future,
but of a different universe. Just to clarify, they never went to their own universe in the future. They changed the future. Sorry.
The Mirror Universe stuff was okay, but like I said, very one beat, very in the brig, blah, blah, blah. And then, sure, we got a new shuttle. Fine, great. I wanted to see Lorca. Very disappointed by that. So that whole thing just kind of fell flat. That good build up in this last episode. Yeah. Bad payoff in this episode for me.
There was no sting. There was no moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's kind of my summary. I think for score wise, honestly, it's got to get a relatively good score because it is Mirror Universe and Guardian of Forever. So I'm going to give it
And
an
still well written characters. Like they
yeah.
have not let us down there.
Yeah, and I actually like Giorgio at the end of this, and I did not like the character or the
And
actress.
Mira Burnham better this week.
So.
Come on, can I pull that out of you? Come on, Mira Burnham, come on.
I love seeing her get tortured and killed.
Excellent.
Does that count?
Yes, it does. Okay, what's your score?
I'm gonna say that unfortunately Olivia was right with her prediction. 8.5 out of 10.
Ooh. Okay.
So Olivia, she's not even here. To realize that she was right. So.
I'm not going to tell you what you said last week because they were right at the end of retrospective. So then we'll be able to, because that's interesting. This is gonna be a weird one to go back and review. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
So what about you? What do you think?
I like the episode less having heard your thoughts this morning. I went into it with the morning more positive. You brought me down a bit, so yeah, I like movie universe stuff more. It just was more engaging, but it didn't have that kick. Lorca was missing. I don't think it was unreasonable expectation based on everything they set up, but it was a underwhelmingly small story to what we thought, and it was definitely too Burnham focused. I didn't like the twist that she was bad in the end. That should have been good, but I just don't think they wanted to. If you'd had the most epic moment in the middle, like it already feels lackluster for me when they have this moment, and they come back to reality. It's like, oh, we're back here, are we? Like the tension goes all the way down again. For me, it would have been worse if you had an even more epic moment. So I get that, but I think they could have had a more epic moment there. Whatever. Guardian for me was good, was fine. I like the reasoning for the most part. We have a video, we've explained it. Cool. He was ambiguous in TOS. He's ambiguous here. And I like the sadness the actor portrayed. A sentient living time portal conveyed a lot of sad emotion about a time war. So well done, Who did you play this week, honey? Well, I played a sentient time portal. Oh. But I got to wear a bowler hat. Oh, good. Mira Burnham, I really enjoyed watching. I thought it was good. Mira Giorgio was too nice, but that worked for me fine. The saying goodbye was surprisingly impactful.
Mm-hmm.
The scenes on the Real Prime were fine, but they feel like this massively this stretched piece of like chewing gum. Now at the edge of this storyline, we have to now have a big payoff because we're right at the edge of it, and that's why I wanted kind of 40 minutes Mirror and then 10, but we got 30 and 20. And it didn't quite work. Or should have been more Guardian and then less them. It was okay. It was one of the things that could have been better, but it was still okay. And yeah, just should would have been more, but pretty good considering. Score wise, I haven't read the LPL score, so all I have is your score in my brain right now. I'm torn between a 7.8 and an 8. Not sure I'm leaning because I still enjoyed it quite a bit.
Just for the record, I think 7.8s are cheating. That's why I only do 0.5s. I never go with any number than a 0.5.
Record noted. I'm gonna go 7.9. I'm gonna go like I don't think it quite reached an 8 for me.
That's a cop out. Should be a 7.5, but that's okay. Or round it up, one or the other.
7.9. I think it was.
So it's a 7 of 9, is it?
It was, yeah.
Wasn't that sexy?
Still better than most Discovery. Really kept me engaged, but yeah, just didn't quite have that. It just didn't quite stick the landing. But it was more just it didn't have those epic moments it should have had, and some wasted stuff for sure. That guy in the brig, pointless, waste of everyone's time. But yeah. Okay. What do you guys think? I'm really.
It's almost like they wrote that part for Lorca and they couldn't get the actor, so like fuck, put something in there.
Yep. And we'll build a new design for a shuttle that will have a cool chase, and yeah. Yep. No, I could see that.
Yeah, Tejesh Patel, I agree. 7.68328183 for me.
Oh, nice.
Christopher Beatty is the only one that super chatted a score, but that's okay. $5, 9 out of 10. So there you go.
I can see it though.
I think the Guardian thing really bolsters a lot of people's numbers.
Well, it was
If it wasn't the
cool.
Guardian, if it was some other kind of alien thing, I think it would have scored lower even for me. Just seeing that, just that, I'm not immune to fan service, unfortunately.
Fanboy-itis.
Yes. So it did work for me. So I think it might have been a little bit, probably would have got a 7.5 out of 10 if it wasn't the Guardian of Forever. It pulled it up a full point for me, I think. So that's safe to say. But now, yeah, it's time for some non-super chat scores.
Okay. But guys, we still need a few more bucks. So if you can, last minute, that'd be good. About 15, 20 away. I'll anyway. So yeah, let's see what you guys said. You guys said 8, 4.3, 8, 7, 7, 7.5, 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 5.5. Needs more Lorca. I can understand that. 8, 6, 7.5, 5, 8, 7, 9.5. 6, 8, 8.5, 7, 9, 7, 10. Shadow Trooper. Perfect episode. Well, there you go. 6. 9. You quoted the big 7 one. 8 and 7. So pretty in between us. Actually, that's a pretty, no hate, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There we go. What an episode.
What a savings.
What a twist. What's that from?
That's Robot Chicken.
What? Is it?
What a twist, yeah. It's M. Night Shyamalan and Robot Chicken. What a twist. Everything is a twist.
No, that's definitely a spoof off something else. Okay, what am I...
He always puts twist endings in his things. So you're literally thinking of Robot Chicken, where like 15 times in the episode, the different scenarios. It's what a twist. Let's see.
I must have heard someone else quoting, because I looked at a meme thing. It was from 2005 with Shyamalan, but I definitely didn't hear it from that. That's
because I say it all the time. I always say, what a twist.
Oh, God.
We never knew where it was from.
Oi.
Caleb Horn throws in $5 with no comment, but thank you very much, Caleb. That's very much appreciated. 270 likes. Let's get 5 more. Let's hit 275 at least. It's a good number.
That's a good number.
It's a good way to end out.
But Stuart, Mr. Gavin, who's a member of the channel, could not be bothered to set his alarm in Australia to wake up earlier to watch us live. I mean, it's 11 a.m. He's just waking up. I mean, every week, you watch me with my dark sky outside it being nighttime. It's now, and is it still daylight with you, Stuart, or is it now nighttime?
Oh, it's dark now.
So it's dark on our side of the world. You couldn't even be half an hour earlier.
It's all right. Just go back and rewatch it. It's a good discussion.
We'll go back to
3
sleep.
hours.
That's fine. Oh yeah, that's true. 3 hours. Last thing, 5 more bucks, guys. 5 more. I mean, 7 round us up, but
Well, Caleb's got the last super chat slot, so it's still available if anyone wants to snipe for $1.
3 minutes. We'll 3 more minutes, and we'll be at 10 past. Captain Commander, what would you change for a send-off if you are directing the episode? For Giorgio. Adding a dog.
Yes, I'd have her. She was looking at Michael as she walked through the portal. I would have her look at Michael and then trip and fall through. That'd be funny. Honestly, I don't know what I would add, what I would change. I'd need to think about that. And yeah.
What I think I would do, honestly, but they couldn't have done it, is that after the ceremony to say goodbye at the end, I would have cut to black, and then cut to like some noise, and then suddenly we cut to like a planet, and Giorgio steps out exactly as the Guardian did in TOS. And then she looks around and she's on Vulcan or something, like a planet that we recognize, and it's not the time, like, and as I said in earlier, I said in the other review, Wrath of Khan era is where I'd place her, because that's a good timeline, that's a good era to do Section 31, I think. So I'd have her walk out Or even literally walk out on like a CGI Enterprise C bridge, like that design, and there's a Wrath of Khan person waiting for her, or like is there, and it's like a beautiful costume, and she's like, "Where did I end up?" You know, like post-credit style sequence for Avengers style would have been really strong. That would have been the icing on the cake, especially goes into a point of time, or she ends up on like the TOS Connie bridge and Pike's there, or a new actor. Who's playing Kirk, and she's at Ticonderoga. You know, something like that would have been strong to end on. Would have really would have amped it a little bit. But yeah,
they're never gonna film at Ticonderoga. Don't even. Even if they decided to go full mirror darkly, they would never go to Ticonderoga to film.
Well, they're building a TNG bridge, so at a certain point, like they're not going to rebuild a TNG bridge just to shoot. Like they would go there, surely. Because that specific bridge is very expensive because of all the curves. TOS's bridge is not that expensive to build. Like in the relative scheme to build, it's actually the cheapest bridge you could build. Like it's actually one of the hardest things again, the buttons, because like 100, 200 buttons.
That's why you update them visually to be something else. Don't get me started on that shit.
1 minute, guys. We got 275 likes. We're still missing $7, but that's okay. Thank you guys for joining us. We got there in the end, 3 hours. We're down to the last 3 guys. Are you excited? Are you excited, Stuart? I'm just tired. I know you're just tired too. But are you still excited for next week when it is all again?
No. I'm excited for next week because it's Christmas. There's nothing exciting about next week except for Christmas.
Yeah. That's great. Christmas time, discovery time. It's going to be so weird. Oi. You know, CBS, right, should just send us the last 3 episodes so we can film our reviews ahead of time and then release them. CBS, if you're watching, just send us the pre-finished episodes. We'll do our reviews, then we'll promise we'll have a video out on Christmas Day if you pre-send us the episodes. We promise.
You can trust us.
We'll film it like Tuesday. Yeah. Your face. Alright, guys. Thank you, Caleb, for our super chat. Stuart, please give us your final epic word as being a TOS fanboy, and they went back to TOS a little bit this episode.
Loved it. Wish they would do more of it and make it look as good as they did. Because this was a good visual retcon and update. So there you go.
So until next time, guys, which is tomorrow for you all, but for us, a couple more days. Although Mandalorian for you, I guess, soon. Yeah, next time we'll see you, Stuart.
I'm looking forward to talking about it. I might do something live tonight even. Who knows? Anyway, guys. Catch you later.
Bye, guys.
Later. He's